This crap, man. These cops are out here arresting people just for breaking the law. Man, these tyrants are out of control, bruh. I thought you were a lawyer. Now you say you can rap. Well, I've listened to your record, made me go take a nap. The rhymes you're spitting out, they make you sound like a nut. Your latest track, it's got less views now than Gun Cereal's butt. Well, you say you're just a man who wants to smoke out some weed, but you smoke yourself stupid, boy. Get the help that you need. You think you could be like Tom McDonald, be an internet star? The problem is your brain's so tiny, it would fit in this jar.
It's a frivolous lawsuit.
You know you were gonna lose.
Frivolous lawsuit.
Now watch me play the blues.
Frivolous lawsuit.
You put against cat.
Frivolous lawsuit.
Make sure you wear the hat. All parties have been sworn in. I've read your complaint.
It's a frivolous lawsuit.
The way it's written, it sounds like you've been smoking paint.
That means
if we have that title to your shit, we will take it.
Oh, come and take it, bitch.
All right. I want your money and I want your dignity, and I'm taking both.
To quote my good friend Artie, come take it, bitch. Come take it, bitch. Come take it, bitch. Come take it, bitch.
Come and take it, bitch.
She spit in my face.
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 Take it, bitch.
Take it, bitch.
She spit in my face.
You're a fucking idiot.
She spit in my face.
Shot little thick dude.
A woman walks into the ladies' room at the mall. She enters one of these stalls and sits down to begin doing her business. As she starts to pee, she looks down at her shoes and sees a head poking under the stall, looking up at her with a camera. "What are you doing?" she screams, frightened. "I'm recording you," says Denver Metro Audits. "But this is a bathroom," she squeals. "Yes, a public bathroom, and there's no expectation of privacy in public," he tells her. "You don't belong in here," she yelled. "I didn't see any sign saying that," DMA replies. "It says ladies' room right on the door." Maybe it does, but it doesn't say no men allowed, does it?" he asked her. "What? That's stupid," she sputtered. "You're being a Karen about this, and what's stupid is shaving down there," DMA answered, holding his camera up. "If you let that bush grow in, it would create privacy for your hoo-ha like a hedge." She stared down at the activist lying on the filthy floor looking up at her. "A hedge? Look, they should put a lock on that door if they don't want people coming in. They need to create privacy," DMA said. "It says ladies' room. They assume men won't come in here." "Well, they shouldn't assume that. And I can film whatever I can see. It's my First Amendment right as an independent journalist." "Oh, you're a journalist. What are you working on?" she asked, sarcastically wiping herself. "I can't divulge that information at this time. The story isn't finished yet," he lied as if there were a story. "No expectation of privacy in public," he reiterated. "But I'm in a stall," she cried. "Yes, and look, it's open on the top and the bottom," DMA answered in his thin voice. They need to create more adequate privacy because if I can see it, I can film it. You don't have to like it, but it's my First Amendment right. The conversation droned on like this for a while. The woman on the toilet and DMA on the filthy floor next to the toilet. Finally, the woman says, "Christopher, don't you think this is inappropriate? I'm your mom." And that's a true story. Absolute true story.
Oh, man, I love that. It was great.
Hello. Hello, hello. Good morning, everybody.
How are y'all doing? It's a wonderful, beautiful Thursday morning. It's a beautiful day. So I'm down here in Florida, and it's funny because like we're finally getting some winter weather, which means that it's in the 50s right now. And to me, it's beautiful because I'm from Chicago, Wisconsin, where it's like 20, 30 degrees right now. So I'm down here where it's 50, and it's hilarious to me because all these people are running around like, oh, it's so cold. What are we going to do? It's the end of the world. We're freezing to death. And I'm just like sitting outside in my t-shirt like, yes, yes. Oh, I'm loving it. Loving it. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Let's go back and say hello to my morning crew. Love to see you guys here every day. We had Terry Barnes in first place this morning at Baptist Hospital with his wife's surgery this morning. God bless. Hope everything turns out okay. Unclean Heads, what's up? Good to see you. I kiss, of course, always. Cliff Hickson, good morning. Nancy Marcho, hello. Commentator Auditor, good morning. Hezokuai Land. Hashtag Rise and Shine with Hezokuai. I am back. Yes, you are. Good morning. Say it hi from work. Brian Showman, what's up? Good morning. Luna Nights. Phew. She just made it. All right. News Now Enemy. What's up? Smash that like button. Crack, good morning from down under. All right. Where's that shrimp I've been waiting for? You're supposed to throw a couple on the Barbie for me. And then bacon in a kangaroo pouch. I don't know. The Forgiven Jerry, what's up? What's up? What's up? Check your email, homeboy. Delete Claus, what's up? Luna Nights, Delete Claus, commentator auditor Susan, the sassy old great granny. Always great to have you aboard. News Now Enemy, Graham's in the house. Morning. Good morning. Hashtag Rise and Shine with Hezekiah. Bye-bye, Brooks. Yes, indeed. We'll get into that. I guess News Now Enemy. Oh, and then News Now Enemy put the hashtag the Hezokuai crew. THC. Good morning, Susan. Vinoy, what's up? You know what time it is. Lars Mika, love you too. Love all you guys. You guys are the best morning crew. The best. I got the best fans in the world. I'm telling you. I love you guys so much. Vinoy. Graham, Archangel 3, what's up? What's up? What's up? Let's see, we got a 2 hour, yeah, not quite. Let's see, Archangel, Susan, Billy Yank, what's up? Niles, how you doing from Germany? What's up? How did he say? The only German word I know is Schadenfreude. Well, no, that's not true. I listen to Kraftwerk, so I know, we are in der Robot there. Dun, 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 dun. And fahren auf der Autobahn. I love that stuff. All right, winter weather, 58. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Scott Ammo's in the house. What's up? Good morning. Edward Catalier. Hello. Unclean Hands. What's up? Let's see who they miss. Everybody, I kiss. Hello, welcome, my sock account. Yes, you're here. Archangel 3, Terry Barnes. All right, I think that pretty much covers everybody for now. So today's going to be an interesting one. I got a lot of stuff to cover, but in the meantime, we also have for our discussions, we got the Forgiven Jerry in the house. What's up, man? How's it going, dude?
Buenos días.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Bien, amigo, listo.
Muy bien. So what's up, man? How you doing today?
I am happy. I was emotionally drained the morning before. I told you that I got workers with me, right? That we all listen to your stuff. We listen to a lot of people's stuff on our job.
Right.
Brooks had 5 grown men crying at my job. No lie, man. They actually told us, mercy, man. Please, just stop it for a second. We need a break. We can't do it. We can't do it. And then
Oh man.
yesterday, exactly like that crowd, every life sentence that he got, we were clapping, we were cheering, we were popping water bottles.
All right. Well, perfect segue because that was one of the clips I wanted to show. So I'll get into that right now. For those of you who didn't see the actual sentencing last night, I'm going to start by showing a clip of that. Oh, you guys are going to love this. Check this out. This is great stuff.
4 of those blocks were turned into a scene that frankly is no different than a war zone. On counts 1 through 6, this court is imposing a life sentence without the possibility or eligibility for extended supervision consecutive to one another. 1 life sentence for Virginia Sorensen. 1 life sentence for Leanna Owen. 1 life sentence for Tamara Durand. 1 life sentence for Jane Kulik. 1 life sentence for Bill Hospel. And 1 life sentence for Jackson Sparks.
Oh, that was a beautiful moment. Everybody was so happy when that happened.
Clap it up, clap it up.
That was amazing. And I'll tell you what, I watched for those of you who didn't see it, what's up, Vanetta? Didn't see you there earlier. Hello, welcome. So these and it's funny because she talked about it later, so I know that the judge was feeling exactly the same thing I was. I sat there yesterday and I watched Daryl Brooks talk for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right? For those of you who didn't see it, he spoke for 2 hours. And the whole time I was just sitting there waiting for him to say one word about feeling sorry or empathy or anything about the victims. And he spoke for 2 hours, didn't say one word except for, it's not lost on me that other people are suffering. That's all he said. The whole 2 hours. All the rest was about him.
There was a moment there that I thought he was blaming it on God, talking about, oh, God does things for a reason or whatever. It's like, you're gonna blame things on God now? He's like,
yeah.
Like, I seriously could not take his blabbling. Like, I was turning it on and turning it off because I just couldn't take it. And his two, I mean, I don't mean to bash on anybody's family or anything like that, but his mom and his grandma just as bad. And I could tell where he gets it from because they did not. They also didn't offer any apologies. I mean, the grandma did, but it was not sincere. She was grandstanding all the way.
Well, even the judge pointed this out, though, because when she was handing down the sentencing during her big speech, she said at one point, she was like, listen, I understand why your family would not want to accept the fact that someone they love would actually do this, and would try to make the excuse that you're crazy or whatever. And one of the things she pointed out is, just now, I let you sit here and talk for 2 hours. If you were this insane, out of control lunatic, you wouldn't be able to come up with these discussions, these arguments. You wouldn't be able to make these points. She said, she's like, I've been in court with people who had extreme schizophrenia and extreme mental conditions, and they don't act like you. You have been diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, and I could tell you're antisocial by your behavior here in court, but that doesn't mean you're nuts. It just means you don't know how to deal with people because, and she didn't say it, but because you're an idiot. And that's ultimately what it came down to,
Yeah, and ignorance of the law doesn't mean you get to escape from the law.
And not just that, but I mean, like, with the normal people that we make fun of on a daily basis, you know, it's like, okay, ignorance of the law or whatever. But I mean, you know that you can't murder people. Like,
Of course.
You know, that goes beyond ignorance of the law into just absolute stupidity. And it's funny because I love the way Judge Daryl handled the entire thing from top to bottom. And even yesterday, like at one point, you know, I'm sitting there watching this with people, and they're like, "Why is she still going? Why doesn't she just read the sentences already?" It's like, because he made it clear before the trial even started. And this is the thing everyone has to understand about everything she did. Before it even started, he made it clear that no matter what, he plans on appealing it. So she is making absolutely certain that there's no question for an appellate court to look at the record and say, oh, well, she came to a snap judgment with this or with that. No, it's like, look, we sat here and discussed it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's all very well thought out and extremely, you know, everything's recorded. There's no question about anything.
She was perfect, man. I mean, he was aggravating. He was frustrating. And you got to give it to some of the people in the court, you know, for not running over there and, you know, choking them out or punching them, because I know I wanted to. So she was amazing in the way she handled it. I mean, professional.
Well, dude,
perfect.
If you remember, not yesterday, but the day before, they had to shut down for over an hour because people were trying to get in there and kill him. Like it was, they were trying to pull a Jack Ruby on his ass. That was not, yeah, that's crazy. A lot of people think that, you know, he's not going to survive long once he gets into Gen Pop, because so many people out there hate his guts, and he thinks he's so hard. It's like, yeah, he's what's up, trans girl? He's been in prison before, but this is different. So we'll see how long he lasts in Gen Pop. He's probably going to be somebody's girlfriend.
We can only hope.
Yeah. Cindy Lucian, what's up? Yeah, it looks like we're getting a good crowd in here today. How's everybody doing this morning?
Oh, God, I hope you don't see David.
We're just here having a good time talking about celebrating Daryl Brooks getting. So he got the way that, and this was another thing that I loved, was the way the judge laid out the sentencing. I know some of it was kind of subtle, even though Daryl Brooks didn't understand some of it, even I was kind of like, yeah, let me look that stuff up and find out exactly what she's saying. So basically the way she laid it out is, he's going to be locked up. She even said herself that it's only symbolic at this point, but it's extremely important that it's all on the record this way. So he has to serve 786 years. And then when that's over, then he starts his life sentences 6 in a row.
They should have doubled that.
Seriously. Yeah, crazy. Let me see. Let me catch up on the chat for a minute. Yeah, Unclean. I did. Hold on. Unclean Hands is asking me a question in the chat. I'm actually waiting for to see if David shows up today, because I wanted to address that with him in here, because it's a whole thing. So I'm sure you know, because you're in here every day, that David Perillo Jr. dude.
Well, I know that there was, because I missed your live stream yesterday morning, because I had an issue at work. Yeah, I missed you, and I knew there was something going on, because when the other day something was already happening, right? I don't know. I heard you were going to unleash Unclean Hands or something like that.
Well, what happened was I always try to, you know, take sort of a comedic approach as best as I can, but you know, when stuff gets real, it gets real. But
right.
So what happened was David said something. We were talking about this case, and he said something that a lot of people were like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, now you're sticking up for Daryl Brooks. That's crossing the line, blah, blah, blah. And I read it, and I read it in the context of the conversation. And David has a sense of humor, and he has his way of expressing, you know, his stuff. And
I knew and understood that he didn't necessarily mean anything bad by it, but I also know that there's time, place, and manner, right? There's a proper time and place to bring up certain things, and that wasn't it. So it made a lot of people upset. So I was like, hey, if you're crossing the line, you're crossing the line now. Come on, bro. But then he sent me an email. He sent Unclean Hands an email hollering at him for kicking him out. But the whole thing when I said I was going to unleash Unclean Hands on him is because from like day one, if you look at the chat, those two have been going back and forth. And it's like Unclean has been chopping at the bit for months to just ban that guy from my chat. And I keep telling him, it's like, well, as long as he doesn't cross the line, but hey.
Always respectfully, this is your channel, Hez. So whatever you want is ultimately what we should respect. And David, to be honest with you, I think I saw Internet God's comment a few seconds ago. He just wants the attention, man. He likes that we're talking about him right now. He likes that he's got to the point that he's disrupted your streams and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of disrespectful, I mean, people may get on my case sometimes because I ask you to come on, but if you tell me no, we're good, man. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to be upset about it because it's your channel. I respect your decisions and anything that you want to do. So, I mean, ultimately it's your decision. So if you tell Unclean Hands to kick him out, then it's your decision. I have no love lost for David. I'll tell you that much. So maybe I'm a little biased on that opinion, but I think that it's fair if he's been pushing the envelope to get him out of here, especially when it comes to the Daryl Brooks case, because that's a very sensitive topic.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like at this point, a lot of my fans here are old enough that you'll know what the hell I'm trying to say. Because I was thinking of a different way to describe it. Because because the fact of the matter is, David does send me emails, and we talk offline. So not just through email, but like we kind of have an understanding outside of this. That's why when he's here, I'm usually pretty cool with it. But again, for my older fans, you might know what I mean when I say this. I used to use the example of like, he's like that one family member that everyone's like, but he's still part of the family, but no. So I've come up with a new way of describing it because ultimately this is a show. It's not a TV show, but it's a YouTube show, but it's my show, right? So it's a show that's based heavily on comedy with a touch of serious like MASH. And when I use MASH as the example, as far as him popping up in the chat, I see him like first 2-3 seasons of MASH Klinger or whatever. He comes whenever you need some comic relief during a serious point. This idiot one's in the room with a dress on. Everyone gets a good laugh, and then they get back onto the real stuff, right? But now he's trying to be, season 5 Klinger coming in and getting serious. And it's like, okay, cool. Wait a minute. But whoa, wait, we're trying to do something here, and whatever. But again, I don't want to get too much into that because he's not here right now. And I wanted to talk about that with him in the room. Girl's like, are we talking about my favorite dummy in the chat? Yeah. Yeah, we are.
I actually I didn't have a problem with him at first because I don't mind, spirited debate. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I don't mind when Rogue Nation comes on. I really don't. I don't mind the debate. But it's a thing when for me at least, when people just want to go in circles. I can't do it. If you're just gonna go in circles, you're not gonna acknowledge any point that we're making. You're just gonna keep going in circles. Well, it's obvious that you just want to be an opponent. That's it. And I don't really like that stuff anymore. Because it gets boring. It's not that it's not. It's fun or whatever to a certain degree. But when you're just going around in circles and they're not making any sense anymore, it gets boring. I don't want to deal with you anymore because you're not making any argument. All you're doing is just playing around, basically.
Talking in circles, yeah. And again, it's like you said, one of the reasons why I don't mind when people from the other side come in is because, all right, well, I'm not trying to just have this be an echo chamber, but at the same time, when it's like when I was my whole story with the whole Paul Unslaved thing from the other day, when I was talking to Paul Unslaved on his panel, and then I went back and I watched his interview with Artie. After hearing his arguments over and over, I've come to the realization that, like, there's a line between actually having an open-minded discussion with someone who's on the other side of the fence, and when it gets to I always use the example of 2 + 2. When it gets to the point where you say 2 + 2 is 4, and someone says, no, it's not, and you say, okay, look, I take 2 things, and then I take 2 more things and put them together and count them. How many things do I have? 4. So what's 2 + 2? Well, it's not 4. It's like, okay, how many times can you say that and then just not accept it until you realize that there is no argument, there is no discussion, because anything that you say that they don't want to hear, they just don't want to hear it.
Right.
So, like,
Paul Slave, if you can see me right now, I'm shaking my head like strongly because that dude just, there's no, first of all, the amount of word salad that he throws out there, it's like,
insane.
Dude, you could just shorten up those sentences by using simple words and you won't sound stupid. You sound more stupid when you use a bunch of big words that you use out of context. It's like, it's so aggravating that I can't deal with that guy. And plus, when he was on Artie's, he was so disrespectful that I have no really I really don't care to even treat him like a human being because Artie was so cordial to him and he was such an asshole for no reason whatsoever.
And you talk about projecting, man. Like, everything that Paul Unslaved accuses people of doing is what he does. It's so insane. And the fact that his fans eat it up is even more unbelievable because he did this to me and Artie. He would talk for 45 minutes about how nobody ever lets him talk and just constantly interrupts him while talking uninterrupted for 45 minutes.
Yep.
Hello, Roisin. Welcome.
Hi,
Vino, what's up?
Captain
Happy. Hey, all right. Hey, we said that one in stereo. So yeah, that stuff drives me nuts, man. Those people are so stupid. And like I said, the whole Paul Unslaved thing, I'm like giving up on him completely. Like that whole group and his people and his chats, they're just a bunch of criminals and idiots that will not accept any fact. They have their improper, incorrect definitions of what every word means. And as soon as you say any word, they automatically think you're saying what their definition of that word is. And if you don't accept their false definition, which is wrong, then you're a piece of crap. And it's like, okay, so I'm an idiot because you don't know how to look in a dictionary.
Well, I think it comes down to the actual situation is that they don't like smart people. They don't like smart people because smart people make them feel dumb. And so since they feel that way, what they do is they say, the smart people, what they do is that they know these words. So these words, if I know them, then I'm smart too. But I'll make them feel even dumber because I'm going to know the real definition of them. And so they think that this, vocabulary that they picked up is somehow smart or whatever. And then they treat people how they feel they have been treated by the smart people. But that's not the case. The case is that they have broken laws. They have done things outside of society. And the people that they have talked to them and have admonished them for the things that they've done just happen to be smarter than them. And so they think that everybody who's smart just wants to beat them down. But that's not the case. But of course, they're not going to see that. They're never going to see that because they're not responsible for anything that they do. They're always the victim. And, society owes them something.
Yep. And that is so true. And another thing that I've noticed about these guys, and it's interesting, like the timing of everything, the way it all worked out between like my going on Paul Unslaved's panel and then watching the Daryl Brooks trial and all this stuff kind of made me notice something. And I just thought of this actually earlier this morning. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, this is it. This is it. This is what it is. When you look at Paul Unslaved, and especially his panel, like the regulars that he has on every day, or when you look at like not Broken System, Broken Trust, because he's just Josh.
Yeah.
But
that guy has another set of problems.
who's right? He's got his own thing. But who's his buddy, the werewolf guy or Wolverine Transparency?
Oh my
right?
goodness, yes.
When you look at all these guys, what I've come to realize is that there's this attitude, okay? There's this way of carrying yourself, like whatever they want to call it, machismo or alpha male or whatever. There's a certain attitude, this certain personality where it's like, especially from Paul on Slave's crew, where it's like, if you're in prison, if you don't act hard, and not just act hard, but once you're there, you actually have to be hard, because if you're just acting hard, you're going to find out real quick who the real hard ass is. So there's like this level of hard you have to be to survive being in prison. And it's like they live their lives based on that. And it's like, well, how about you just don't go to prison? You ever think of that? Has that ever crossed your mind? Like, you have to live your life like, man, if I'm in prison, I can handle myself. So don't go to prison. Like,
it sounds like they have plans to go back. Like, are you planning to go back? Because I don't think you want to go back.
Seriously, like it's
and not to. I don't mean to hijack your stream here, but
man, that's why I brought you up here to talk.
Well, the thing is that I talk not from a place of like, the people who got their law degrees and stuff like that, because those people I have a lot of respect for. I speak from the part that I made a mistake. I went to jail. I did my time. I paid my price to society, and I didn't go back. And I haven't gone back. I did something very selfish, very stupid. I was young. I was angry. I was bitter at the world, just like they were. And so when I went to jail, I learned my lesson. I was there for a year and I didn't want to go back. I had a 5-year probation and never messed up. And I haven't messed up since. And you know what? It allowed me to see that society and the things that I did had nothing to do with the people around me. It was all me. And I had to take responsibility and I had to live up to it. And that's what happened. And things went better for me once I did that. And I take that with me everywhere. And so when I hear these guys and I hear them talk, I always try to talk to them from the part that I know where they're coming from, but I also know the hardheads, the ones that were there when I was in there, and the ones that, as a matter of fact, the ones that are going to come back because they call it their second home. You should never want jail to be your second home, but that's the way some of those guys treat it, and it's true.
Yep. And that's the thing, and they have this, like you said, it's all about responsibility and personal responsibility, right? The big thing with the Brooks trial yesterday, she let him talk for 2 hours, just waiting for him to say something, to take any kind of responsibility for what he did. And of course he didn't at all. After 2 hours of talking, he said nothing. But it's the same thing, right? Even with these, like, because, like, that's the most extreme case with a murderer, right? But even these low-level idiot frauditors, what ultimately are we talking about? If they get pulled over for not having a license plate, it's not their fault for not having a license plate. It's the cops' fault for trying to extort money from them. If they go through a red light, it's not their fault for going through a red light. It's the cops' fault for pulling them over. Like, in other words, it goes back, it's par for the course for these guys to twist everything everyone says and does, right? So, like, when we talk about that, they'll try and take it and twist it and say, oh, see, if somebody gets arrested, you're going to hold it against them for the rest of your life. No, look at what you just said. People make mistakes. Things happen. I understand that. Nobody judges anyone for that. But what matters, it's like they always say, it isn't, that you get knocked down. It's whether or not you get back up that matters, right? So these people, you make a mistake, you do your time, whatever, but to decide that you're going to spend the rest of your life blaming everything else for what you did, and then I'm going to dedicate my life to getting revenge on these people by making videos about them, that's a lack of accountability. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean,
Weeds
some of them
Kador,
I
what's up?
some of them I kind of get where you can like get you can kind of get, you know, I don't want to say tricked, but you can kind of get disillusioned in your own mind because you think that, you know, the cops are the one that are doing this to me, or the judge is the one that's doing this to me. Um, but you know, you kind of have to take everything, you know, in a way that it's like it's not personal, you know, because that was the thing that hit me, you know. Unfortunately, I don't. These guys, they don't hear what the cops are telling them because I remember when I was getting arrested and having to talk with the cop that was taking me to the station, and he was having a conversation with me that was absolutely neutral to the situation. He didn't know why I was getting arrested. He was just taking me to the station. He was going to book me, and we were having a conversation back and forth. And then I thought to myself, like, so you have no idea why I'm here or anything? He's like, I know, but you don't know why I'm. You don't know me either. So why should I judge you? Literally, I'm in handcuffs in the back seat of a car, but he's not judging me. And
Right.
that example there made me go neutral through the whole process. And it made me see, you know what? I'm stupid for even thinking that these are just people doing a job. They're just
Right.
working. That's all they're doing. They don't wake up in the morning thinking, today I'm gonna arrest Jerry. No, they're thinking, I'm gonna do a job. They're hoping that they don't have to do anything bad. They're hoping that nothing gets too worse. They want to go home to their families. But you know what? Stuff happens and people make mistakes on their side too. And there is accountability on their side. That's such a lie that there's no accountability on their side. Maybe at one time there was, and I will acknowledge that. But to say that there is no accountability whatsoever, that is such a lie. There's just people putting more stuff on other people that they shouldn't. Now, who the people that we should be holding responsible are our representatives, the legislative, the people that we put into office. Those are the people we need to be holding accountable, protesting against, you know, going to see what they're doing and stuff like that. Not the regular people who carry out the jobs, not the people who work every day just like us.
Right. Well, it's kind of like I always hear these arguments where it's basically saying like if a cop asks you, oh, by the way, I want to say hello real quick to the people who are just joining us. Salacious, what's up? Good to see you. Graham, Pack, Alweedskador. Welcome, everybody. I always like to acknowledge everybody who's in here. So anyway, what I see is they're making these arguments where they'll say things like, the only reason a cop wants your ID is so that he could find something to arrest you for. And it's like, well, wait a minute. They're twisting it. It's not that the cop wants your ID because they're looking for an excuse to arrest you. They want your ID because they want to see if they have to arrest you. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, ooh, let's see if there's any warrants. It's like, if there are warrants, then they should be looking for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if you have outstanding warrants, then it's not that the cops are going out of their way to fish for an excuse to throw you in prison. If you have outstanding warrants, then you need to be held accountable for them.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, what makes me laugh, is that there are people like DMA who say things like, well, I don't go to you know, McDonald's and they're gonna ID me for having a burger or whatever. It's like, dude, if you use a credit card, they're gonna ID you. You know, because there are
They'll have your
protections.
stuff, your credit card information on the thing in the computer when you swipe it.
Right. There are protections that are set in place to protect people from being fraudulent, from, you know, being stolen from, dude. Like, these things are not just about you. It's not about how people are treating you. This is about everybody. So stop making it about you and how you're being treated, because it's not. DMA comes in and he has to give the ID, and he's the one who's doing all this stuff. Everybody who walks in there has to give their ID, their information, and do what they got to do. And everybody has to do it within these bounds because we as a society have agreed to this. Now, if there's something that we don't agree with, and obviously we're not going to agree with because it's something that we see that is wrong, like say racism, then we're gonna call it out and we're gonna say we don't want it, right? And
Right.
the thing is that these guys are trying to put this untrust inside of the society that we've built that has done so many good things and then discredit it. And it's like, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of them trying to discredit something that's so special within our country. I mean, it's so easy to, talk crap and everything, but the fact remains that a lot of good things have happened here, and we can continue to do good things if we stop, backtracking ourselves, stop making things about the things that we already got over. And
Right.
that's the part that really upsets me about everything, is that we've done so many good things that we don't focus on that. We focus on the one bad thing that happened, and mostly they're individual things that don't have to do with the group as a whole. It's always one one thing that they want to highlight, and it's very aggravating.
Oh yeah, it is. It's extremely aggravating. Um, they always pick and choose all of their arguments. It seems like the underlying foundation of everything they do is I'm right and everybody else is wrong, period. That's one of the reasons why I get so extra mad when they start auditing private businesses. Like you said with the example of, well, I don't walk into McDonald's and do this and that. And it's like, okay, fine. But there actually are people out there auditing places like McDonald's. Like, what does any of that have to do with government accountability? And I'm supposed to sit here and believe, and their idiot fans do believe, that the only reason they're filming these businesses is because legally they can. Well, one, if you just posted a video of you filming a building and that's it, you wouldn't get any clicks or views. You could argue, well, I'm not just doing it for clicks and views, but the fact is you wouldn't get any if it was just you filming that building. So we know you're not out there just to film the building. The reason you're filming the building is because they're going to call the cops, which is going to force an interaction with the cops that you could use to sell your video. Right. It's all such transparent BS that to us is so obvious that this is what these idiots are doing, and their fans are eating it up. They believe this shit, and it just drives me nuts.
When it comes to the audience, and before like I found the anti-frauditor people out here, and I was just going through frauditors on my own, going down the rabbit hole on my own. I thought I was going crazy. I thought the world was going crazy. I didn't think that there could be people that support this kind of behavior, right?
Right.
I almost was losing my mind, because I would go to every single comment and I would be like, no, you're wrong. What the hell are you talking about?
Yep.
And I started losing it, but then I found this and I found Degeneration Nation, and man, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
But what I see mostly from these people is that the people that follow them is that, one, either they're young people that are just
Stupid.
looking to see they're just looking to see the conflict, right? And I would say that's mostly their audience. And then the other part is the same people as them, people who have got criminal records, who are upset with society, who don't want to follow society's rules, who think that everything is about them, and so it's either it's one or the other. It's not really the diversity is not there as far as, like, say, intellectuals and stuff like that. There's sometimes some people who say that they're lawyers and stuff like that, which I doubt, because usually I get into like some debates with them and they don't make sense either. And it's like, you're saying you're a lawyer? Are you sure you're a lawyer? And they won't answer those questions. And well, you know how.
Well, no, I can tell you that. I can tell you that right now. See, this goes back to the whole problem with these idiots redefining words. They think lawyer is lawer, someone who reads law stuff on Google. So they can say, I'm a lawyer. Why? Because I've read about the law on Google, so I am a lawyer. They won't say I'm a member of the bar. And that's how you get to, like, if you really want to dig in and get past that and find out if they actually are a lawyer. Yeah, I'm a lawyer. Oh yeah, what year did you pass the bar? Oh, I never took the bar. Oh, so you're one of those lawyers. Okay, I get you.
And you know what's crazy is that in my time when I went to jail, I didn't see any sovereign citizens when I was in jail, but I did see a lot of like what they call jailhouse lawyers. I did see a lot of people who would give you advice in jail. It was funny
Yeah.
because I remember I had one of these guys that would like be in and out of jail all the time, and he was like, I'm always in and out of jail, so what I do is I fire my public defender, and then they have to get you another public defender. And I was all like, why would you do that? Oh, because like that, the process gets delayed. I'm all like, dude, why would I want to process? Why would I want to delay the process? Like, I'd rather it get it done as fast as possible. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, you fired the public defender, then they have to get you another public defender. I'm all like, dude, that does not sound like sound advice. I just
yeah, it goes back to the whole idea that they will argue that a dismissal is a win because getting a dismissal is their goal. That's the point. That's why you fire your lawyers and do yourself and make these arguments and push and push and push and push until the point where prosecuting your case is going to cost the state more money than the case itself. And it's not a murder trial. It's not it's not a rape trial. It's not something crazy. So ultimately, they determine it's not worth it, and so they dismiss the case. And that's the goal, is to keep pushing the court and pushing the court and pushing the court until they just give up, because it's not worth it.
I could say of experience, trust your public defender. He's a lawyer. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. And depending on your case, they're going to put I thought the public defender, because they were talking so much crap about him when I was in there with all the criminals, like they were saying, oh, your public defender's gonna suck and this and that, right? And so when I met my public defender, instead of automatically, dismissing him, I asked a couple questions to see what was going on. And the public defender told me, I'm actually the chief of the defender's office here. They're like, you actually have a special case because of your situation, so I'm gonna have to do it. And I told him, well, how come everybody talks about, like you're, this and that about the public defenders? He said, well, if your case is not a big one, say you got like like not a DUI case, but like say something like a couple traffic tickets or whatever, and you do need one, we'll put like a rookie, with you. But it's mostly because your case is not going to be either won or settled or anything like that. It's going to be something that it's going to be quick. It's just procedure or whatever. And I told him, oh, I was like, so what if like say I got a murder case? So like, of course not. We're not gonna let you hang like that. You're gonna see, the better lawyers that we have. So he said, it depending on the case, like how important it is and stuff like that, we're gonna give you, like the type of lawyer that you need. Now, of course, there's young people that need their time, so he has to put them somewhere, right? And so that he explained what I loved about this guy is that there was not a question that he would not explain to me. Even if it had nothing to do with the case, if we just had conversations about law, he was willing to talk to me about it. And as somebody who who used to think like Paul enslaved, that the smart people just wanted to see me, like on the dirt or whatever. I was like, why are you telling me all of this? Like, why me? Why are you telling me this? And he just told me, I have a duty to you to tell you what's going on. I have to let you understand what's going on with the law, man. That's my oath. That's what amazing. That's one of the first times I heard oath, as a matter of fact. And he was a really good guy. I wish I could remember his name, because he when I got out and then got my stuff together, I tried to go back and visit him, and they told me that he actually moved to New York. But yeah, man, he was a great guy. Great guy. After that, my respect for lawyers went like poof, it went way up there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, like just like anything, you're gonna get people who are better at it than, whatever. You got your good and your bad and everything, right? So it's not like there's no such thing as bad lawyers or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, these idiots try to paint this picture that defense attorneys' job is supposed to be to do what you tell them to do. And it's like, no, their job is to give the best defense they possibly can. If you're telling them to do something that doesn't make sense legally and isn't going to give you any kind of defense, they're not going to do it. And then these people are like, see, these attorneys are garbage because I told them, file this motion that says, dear Mrs. Judge, you're a poopy pants and I know liking you. And then they give that to the lawyer and the lawyer's like, no, I'm not touching that. That's nonsense. You're like, see, this lawyer's crap. He didn't do what I told him to do. His job isn't to do what you tell him to do. His job is to do what's in your best interest. You know?
Yeah, and I actually got that lesson too from him too, because I remember I got some other advice that I thought would work because it sounded sound, because we were talking about bail amounts and stuff like that, and so I asked him if he could talk to the judge, at a certain part of the trial, and he told me that's not a good idea right now. He told me I'll get to that, but let me get to it when I get to it. When I get to it, I promise you that it's going to go much better than if I go to it, at the time that you're telling me. And I was like, oh, come on, man, like just do it for me or whatever. Right? He was all like, I could do it for you. I could do it for you, and I will. But I promise you, if you go along with what I'm telling you, we're gonna see much better things. And something in me said, these guys are crazy over here. And this guy is not crazy. He's here. He got his degree. He knows what he's talking about. So you know what? All right.
Real quick though. Let me say goodbye to Cinda Lucian and hello to Debos Nation. Welcome. Good to see you guys. Just want to make sure you guys know that I see you in here. I see you, Graham. I know you. I got you. I'm watching. I see you. I know.
Bryce Cinda Lucian. She was
JH Ostruck. Hello.
She's got a procedure happening. I think she was talking about it earlier. So good luck with that. I hope everything turns out well with you.
Yes. God bless. Thank you. All right. So go ahead, buddy. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no, I was pretty much done because I was just saying, like I understood after that you know what, he's got it. He's gonna do what he's got to do. I'm gonna let him go for it. And any concerns that I have, I just talked to him about them, and he did everything for me perfect. I mean, everything came out the best I could possibly imagined. I mean, I was supposed to do 5 years on a prison sentence. He talked them down to give me suspended sentence on a 5 years, saying that this guy he's not gonna do anything wrong. You put him on 5 years probation, he's gonna come out perfect. And he knew that about me right away, and I thank him for having trusted me like that. The judge, I thank him for having trusted me like that. I only had to do 1 year in jail, and when I was out, I never went back.
Nice. That's the way you do it, man. You just do what you got to do, take care of business, and don't just hold it against the cops and the whole world and blame everyone else and all that from now on. But it's early in the morning. We had a nice introduction, a nice beginning. Now it's time to wake up. Hey, what's up, Josiah? So let's get our hearts pumping with some hatred. I mean, anger.
With some anger.
I just realized that I said it backwards because the hatred is coming from SGV, right? But I'm saying it like, let's grab ours. But anyway,
we got an SGV video. Oh, you're gonna get me angry early, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's get these hearts pumping. So let's go ahead and check this out real quick.
Can you talk to me, or are you just playing a game? Is this like a game? Who do you work for? What are your intentions? No, I'm here to keep the peace. So if you guys are here harassing this company, if you got some sort of ulterior motive, let me know so I understand what's going on here. You guys gonna explain what you're doing and what you're up to and what your intents are? For what reason are you doing
I don't talk to tyrants, man. Go away.
You don't talk to who?
Tyrants.
I'm a tyrant.
Seems like it to me.
No, I'm trying to ask.
You came up with an agenda in your mind, didn't you?
Well,
what's your agenda? That we're what?
Obviously,
that we're harassing who? We're harassing who? Excuse me?
These people right here.
Did I even say a word to them? Do you even know what the story is? Or are you just going to come up and want to falsely arrest us? Yeah, I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. Just like them, I don't answer questions, man. I don't answer to you. I don't answer to them. So respect my rights. Respect my rights.
Respect my authority.
Maybe that'll help us explain to them.
Maybe you should just respect my rights. Have I broken the law? Okay, then respect my rights. I refuse to talk to the police. I refuse to talk to you. Respect my rights. Have a good day. Negative. This is public. This is public. This is called a public easement around the property. Don't be dumb. Don't tell me you don't know the law. You're a law enforcement. You're going to tell me that you don't know the law? You're going to tell me that you don't know the law? You're law enforcement. I'm not law
Let her
enforcement.
talk. She'll tell you the law. How about you shut up for a second?
There's nothing going on here, man.
Right?
There's nothing going on here because I have the freedom to record anything I want to. That's why.
Is there like a business that they're doing that you're
I don't even know who they are or what. I don't even know who you guys are. I don't know who they are. So that's all I gotta ask. That's all I gotta say. I still don't know who you are. You're willing to take me to jail. That's all I know.
Did we talk about jail?
They haven't said anything about
I'm
jail.
sure you're willing to take me to jail. I'm sure you're quick to grab me, put me in cuffs, put me in your car.
Then how come they're not doing that?
Ruin my life, run me through the system for something that for no crime that's been committed.
He says you don't know the story. You don't have an agenda. He's basically saying that they're profiling him or whatever, right? What is he doing to them right now? What is he doing to them? I heard him call them tyrants already. He's saying that they want to take him to jail. You're actually the one with the agenda. You're the one who knows what you're doing.
Right.
That's such. I'm sorry, but that's one of the things that's like, as an audience, as somebody who's watching this, how could you not see that? How could you not see how obvious that is?
Yes, exactly. And I love the fact that they always say things like, and not specifically in this video, but just for example, like if somebody touches them, oh, well, if I touched him, I'd be in cuffs right now. Or like him saying, oh, you just came out here to arrest me. It's like, then how come they're not arresting you? If the only reason they're there is to arrest you, then how come you're not under arrest? Like they say these things that are so blatantly, obviously untrue, and yet their fans believe it. And it's like, they're so stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Excuse me, sir. May I ask you why you're here? Oh, yeah, I got a YouTube channel. I just take videos of random stuff for my channel. Oh, okay. And they would have been gone. But no, they're not going to get you clicks and views. So you have to turn it into a fight and blame the cops for the ones doing it.
Yeah, and then another thing, do you know the law? Do you know the law? Yes, she knows the law. You don't know
He doesn't. Yeah.
You don't know it.
They know what they think it is,
they know,
but they're wrong.
Real quick, that's something that I had a debate with a stupid frauditor a while back ago on Frauditor Troll's channel.
Yeah.
I told him, if we're gonna debate something, we're not gonna debate it on the terms that we know the law, because I don't know it and you don't know it. So we're not gonna sit here and act like we're the authority on the law because we don't know it like a lawyer or a judge or a cop would know it. And he was like, but I know the law. I was like, no, you don't. You don't know how to interpret it. You just don't. So don't tell me that you know the law.
They don't know shit.
Right.
They know they here's the problem. And this again kind of goes back to the whole Paul Unslaved thing. It's like they take these things either completely made up or completely out of context and decide how they define it, and then think, well, I know the law. Well, why do you know the law? Well, because in this case, at this point, it's a 72-page finding, and somewhere in there is one sentence where one of the people who was in there said something about, but I don't need a license to drive. So now we know no licenses for anyone ever. Like, no, that's not the way the law works, you moron. Anyway, let's get back to this idiot.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Tyrants.
So the idea was to get us to come.
They were tyrants, would be on the ground
Tyrants.
bleeding
No,
right now.
No, it's none of your business what I'm doing. I'm out here collecting data for a news story, and anything else is none of your business.
You arguing with the cops is
I
the
don't have to
story.
explain to you. I don't have to explain to them. Why would I have to explain to you what I'm doing?
You don't have to.
Okay.
I'm asking you as a person to a person.
I already told you I choose not to talk to the cops. Hey, they could be at ease. They can go back to their business so I can continue my business. And then everybody's back at peace.
But you understand. You understand if you're working.
He doesn't understand
that
anything.
nobody's approached us?
If you were in their shoes,
They just approached you.
like this would make somebody uncomfortable.
I'd understand, but I'd also mind my own business.
Well, stop filming other people's business.
If I don't want to be on a camera, if I don't want to approach somebody with a camera, then don't approach somebody with a camera. Don't get feelings about somebody that has a camera if you approach them and they don't answer your questions, just like you guys.
Did you go up to someone and recorded their license plate number or their VIN number?
It's public information. It's in public's view. It's in public's view. If I did, I can. If I did, I can. If I didn't, then oh well. But if I did, I can because it's in public's eyes view.
You're recording someone and their private property because that's their property. That's not.
I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. I don't answer those type of incriminating questions. You're ridiculous.
It's incriminating if you're doing something wrong.
Definitely baiting. No, you're not. You're baiting to see if I've broken the law so you could arrest me. Yes or
Projecting.
No, we just want to be able to tell them what's going on, so that way they can feel
You could tell them that they should mind their own business. If they don't want to be on camera, don't approach a camera guy, okay?
Well, then you
And
mind
don't
your
call
own
them
business
over
by
and
not
say,
filming
"Excuse
their
me,
business.
What are you doing if you don't want to be on camera, okay? If I don't want to be on camera, I'll cover my face or close my window or drive away. I'm not going to sit there and call somebody, excuse me, what are you doing? And then get out of your car and say, what are you doing? There's no point in that, okay?
And they can't just drive away.
What do you mean it's their work? They're out in the, if somebody's out in the street, they have the right to drive away if they want to. What do you mean they're at work?
My
What do
God,
you mean
hold
they're
up.
at work?
Could you pause for a
I'm
second?
at work too. You guys are bothering me at
Do these guys not realize, or do they think we're that stupid that this is not something regular? It's like this shit is not regular. People don't walk around with their cameras up at people's faces. They don't walk around with 3 different cameras on tripods and whatnots, putting them in people's faces without having some sort of real purpose for doing that. And if you are doing that, how could you expect not somebody rational who is thinking with their head to come and ask you, hey, what are you doing? Because you're not there. You're not a regular thing that's right there. You're an oddity. And anybody who sees an oddity is going to try to figure out what's going on with that oddity. That's what we do as human beings. I don't see how this argument is, oh, you mind your own business. No, dude. If you were there every single day doing the same thing every single day, and we knew, hey, that's SGV over there, and he has a camera right there. He does that all the time, every day. I could kind of see why people would be like, leave them alone. You know what I mean? They're always there, but you're not. And another thing too, putting people on camera is evasive. It's one of those things that people like. You're messing with people's privacy. You don't know what you're being recorded for, or why, or what they're using it for. And most people, they're not savvy on recording laws and stuff like that. They just don't want them to be put in a place where they might be talked shit about or embarrassed somehow. You know what I mean? So they'll try to ask you politely if they have the gumption to do so, if you could please not film them. It's a simple request, and you're not going to get anything more from them. All they want is for you not to put the camera in their face, and it just baffles me. What is that argument that don't walk up to a guy with a camera or whatever? There's not people walking around with cameras. Now, if you were at the Statue of Liberty taking pictures with everybody else that goes over to the Statue of Liberty, then I completely understand your argument. But this is not that place. This is a place of business.
Hello? I lost him. I didn't do that on purpose. I don't know what happened. He just disappeared. Anyway, so piggybacking on that, I didn't boot him. I don't know what happened. He just disappeared. Maybe something with the internet. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, piggybacking on that idea, I never have been able to understand, and I always make this argument, like, and this is really, really big for me, okay, is when you are filming somebody else's business, how is that you minding your own business? Like, you could say, oh, how come they don't mind their own business and leave me alone? Because you're filming their business. I don't understand how any of them buy that argument at all. Dude, you I don't know what happened to you. You just disappeared.
It's a conspiracy.
Anyway.
They heard me. They didn't want me to talk anymore.
They booted you. Yep.
Yeah, it's all them. It's all them.
Well, what I was just saying, I don't know if you heard it. I was making the point that you know, this it never made sense to me, and I always try to make this argument because it's just so insane to me that these guys will always say, why don't you mind your own business? It's like, well, if you're filming my business, how is that you minding your own business?
Right. Well,
You know,
what did you last hear before I kicked myself out like an idiot?
what was the last thing he said, guys? I don't remember. I was piggybacking on it though, because it was related to that. Like, you know, oh, you were talking about like it's not. You have to understand that when you look at the world and the way things work, and that's one of the reasons why people like me, I think, are important, is to help the general public who doesn't even know these idiots exist to understand. Like, these idiots showing up with a camera doesn't seem normal. Oh, and okay, so you were saying that it's not a normal thing, so of course they're going to react weird because it's a weird thing.
Yeah,
but I was going to say to that point,
they're the oddity.
Yes, they're the odd ones. And I was gonna, when you said that, it reminded me of it was a while ago, but I saw a video of a frauditor who was at a zoo and he was trying to do a First Amendment at the zoo, and it didn't work. Like, and during the thing, because you know, obviously they always narrate their videos and build these false narratives through their narration. So he's narrating, and the whole time he's like, what the hell? Like he was acting like he was seriously like not understanding why he wasn't getting bothered or harassed. And it's like, you're at a zoo.
People take
It's
pictures.
not abnormal to see somebody with the camera out at a zoo. In fact, it's extremely normal. So of course nobody's going to think it looks suspicious there. Like you said, if you're at the Statue of Liberty, everybody's out there taking pictures. That doesn't look suspicious. You know?
Yeah. Oh, so I left off at what my last point was, is like, nobody cares about their filming. It's how they're doing it that people care about. And it goes to the same thing that they always say. They're trying to stop me from filming. They arrested me for filming. No, dude, they did not arrest you for filming. They arrested you because you were being a jerk and you didn't want to you didn't want to treat people with respect, and they kicked you out, so they trespassed you. That's why you got arrested. You didn't get arrested because you were filming. If you would have just followed what everybody was telling you and had a little bit of respect, you wouldn't have got arrested. And that's pretty much it. But of course, they're not going to say that because that's not what sells in their channels. That's not what gets them the clicks and the views. And you'll never get them to admit to that because they're pieces of shit.
What's up, Dave Malik? Yes, and that also, and I mean, obviously, I know and understand that the 3 audits that I did a couple of weeks ago were a joke, right? And I know that it was supposed to be funny. It was meant as a sarcastic thing. But the fact of the matter is, I was trying to prove a point. And I think that if those idiots were to actually have the capacity for rational thought, which they do not, they would see that, you know, I'm walking with my camera out downtown Nashville, Tennessee. And when somebody approaches me, I purposely go out of my way not to film them. When they ask me what's going on, I say, oh, yeah, I'm just here taking pictures from out of and everything's cool. Everything's fine. I'm not getting tackled by the cops. I'm not having problems. Why? Because if they ask me what I'm doing, I don't say, well, I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. I say, oh, I'm just out here filming, enjoying my vacation. Never been here before. Oh, okay, cool. All of a sudden, it's, oh, okay, cool. So if these guys are right, there is no such thing as, oh, okay, cool, right? But they don't act right. They're responding to the way the idiot with the camera acts. It's not the camera. It's the way the idiot with the camera acts is what they're responding to. Hello, Smitty Sanitarium. Welcome.
Transgirl, I remember that one where they had the closed post office. Big West Audit copied that one unironically. That's it.
Yes. That's why that for me specifically was hilarious, because Schrodinger's cat did that as a joke, and then a year later here's an auditor actually doing that, and it's real. It's like, oh man,
Yeah, it's hilarious. Go ahead, man. You can continue.
All right, here you go.
Work. You guys are out for it too, and you guys are bothering me. You're taking up my time. Who do you work for? It doesn't matter. Why would I have to answer that, man? Why are you trying to violate my rights? Okay. Well, like I said, I refuse to answer your questions. So let's not go down the question route no more. I'm out here lawful in public, conducting lawful activity.
And who said you weren't?
Excuse me, conducting lawful activity.
And who said you weren't?
Constitutional protected activity.
And who said it
and
wasn't?
I would wish that you don't violate my rights any further and let me.
Who's violating your rights?
I understand where you're coming from. You're very well versed.
All right, thank you. Well, then have a good day, sir. Then have a good day. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day. Have a good day. Go educate them now. So they're not calling the cops, wasting your time.
All right. I want to point this out as well. And I've pointed this out 100 times, but it's always the same thing. And no frauditor has ever been able to answer this question with any degree of logical answer. Right now, he's filming the cops doing the quote-unquote walk of shame. Now, that always blows my mind because, number one, if you're filming them doing the walk of shame, then that means they didn't stop you from filming, or you wouldn't be able to film them doing it. If you're talking about them doing the walk of shame, then they never violated your right to speak because you're still speaking. So what are they ashamed of exactly? What's this walk of shame about? Like, if you're physically capable of filming them walking away and talking about them, then you're still filming, you're still talking. So what's the problem?
Yeah, it's just that elementary way of winning an argument or making yourself feel good, like when you're a kid and you tell like another kid, like, okay, well, shut up now, and he doesn't shut up, he says, okay, well, keep talking, and the kid keeps talking, and it's like, right. you see, like, it's like, dude, that's such a little kid way of seeing things. Like, what the fuck? Like,
so many of these guys are children, emotionally children. Yeah, one of these days SGV is going to meet the wrong one, and
I already told you, man. I blew it the first time I saw SGV in person. I just was not ready because that was the first time I ever saw a frauditor. The first time I even knew that was happening. Like, I didn't understand it. I was completely baffled by what he was doing. So, man, if I could take back that time with the knowledge that I have now, oh boy, it would have been such a different confrontation.
And I'm telling you, and he's one of the ones, and I've said this before, and again, I understand there's whatever, but the fact of the matter is, people like him, like, if I saw, say, for example, if I actually ran into Amagansett Press in the wild, or Auditing America, or one of those guys, I would actually flip it on them, and I'd do an audit on them. But if somebody like SGV or Silence Boy or Casey Camera Boy or one of those guys, I know exactly what I would do. I whatever, I'd pull up porn on my phone and I'd walk up to them and I'd point my phone at their camera, because one, they'd get immediately demonetized for putting porn on there. Two, they wouldn't even be able to post the video. It isn't about they'd have the video demonetized. They wouldn't be able to use it at all. And if they were on a live stream, I could possibly get their entire channel taken down because they can't show that. I would immediately I wouldn't even talk. I'd just walk up to them and start porn bombing them. Just start putting my phone in front of their camera so they could see the naked pictures, and that's it. They're done. No problem.
Well, if I ever caught him like in a situation where he's in the city hall or whatever, I would go to like the clerk, whoever he was talking to, and just give her the quick rundown. Just tell her he's just trying to get clicks and views. Don't give him nothing. Don't argue with him. Don't do nothing. Just go ahead and tell him walk around and take some pictures or whatever. Then I immediately go down the hall. And I'll go to the people that are down there. It's like, there's an idiot over here from YouTube, and he's gonna do some stupid things like ask you guys about pictures or whatever. If you guys want to go ahead and hide, if there's nobody here to argue with, he'll be out of here in no time. Just real quick, just go and hide real fast.
Yeah, don't give him anything. Yep, exactly. Oh man. So anyway, this video still has a lot of time left on it, but I only saw that first part that we watched before, so I don't know what's coming next.
Oh boy.
It looks like it's going to go into a completely different thing. So let's see what happens.
We'll
yeah,
see.
because it looks like this is like a compilation of someone else put together. But let's see.
Well, cops are coming now.
Oh yeah, video number
What
two.
is this?
Wait a minute.
Video
Is this
2.
what I think it is? Oh no, this is.
Oh my
for a second, I thought
goodness. Code 3. You see how this thing happens?
This looks like an undercover. He got lights. Hi, how you doing?
What's going on today, guys?
We're recording.
What's going on with you? What's that?
I'm out here because I got a call about 2 people recording.
What crime is it?
2 people recording. Is that
You
is,
responded to a non-crime?
Yeah, you responded to the call about 2 people recording.
Okay, right there, right off the bat. So, what do you think people who hate cops would say if they weren't responding to calls? See, these public servants aren't doing their job. We call them and they don't respond. But when they do respond, it's, you responded to a call? What? Huh?
Oh, two guys recording? 2 guys recording in a place that they are not supposed to be? And recording at people that don't normally get recorded? What are you talking about? What do you mean we're suspicious? God.
Right?
Are you hearing yourself?
Yeah, they don't hear themselves, obviously, because they're idiots. I think we got a couple other people I didn't say hi to yet. Let me go back real quick. Just want to make sure I cover everybody. We got Trans Girl, Debo, Salacious. We got Dave Malik. We got Simone. What's up?
Big Debo.
Yeah. Mark the Sarcastic Law Student. Smitty Sanitarium. Luna Knights has been here for a while. Salacious. Mark the Sarcastic. Yeah, I think I got everybody. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Christopher O'Connor, what's up? All right, so anyway,
News
let's
Now?
get back. Yes, News Now, enemy. What's up? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Well, that's another one of the problems.
Was Sam I am there? Sam I am. Oh, did you say Sam I am?
Yeah, I did. I just
Oh.
pronounced it wrong. Sorry.
Me?
But yeah, anyway, yes, these idiots with their because News Now was like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's one of the many reasons why I hate these guys is they always move the goalposts, and no matter what you do, it's wrong. You don't show up, see, the cops didn't come. You show up, I can't believe you responded to a stupid call. If somebody does something for you, they didn't do it right. If they don't do something for you, well, they have to do what I say. If they put up a sign, well, that doesn't trump law. If they don't put up a sign, well, you guys didn't have a sign. They always change the bar. No matter what, you can't win. You can't win. You just can't with these idiots because they're
Right.
idiots.
And every single argument goes back to being a little kid. It's like, do you need a sign for everything? Do you need a sign to tell you where to go use the restroom? Do you need a sign to tell you when you're gonna go take a shower? Do you need a sign to tell you what a door is? Like,
Yeah.
Nobody needs a sign that much, you know. I understand there's some explicit signs for certain things because they might look like your normal door, but it's only the door for the employees. I got you. But come on, common sense should have hit you by now. You're grown ass men. You don't need to be told everything in signs. Jesus.
Yes, exactly. And especially with people like Craig from CH&TY Audits, like this whole narrative that they build where it's like, and I've literally heard Craig tell people, like, when they're like, well, this part of the building is a private area and you can't be filming over there. And I've literally heard him say, well, then why don't you put up a wall? It's like, okay, so you want to complain about them wasting our tax dollars, but now they have to spend how much to build a whole wall in their building because one idiot might come in there with the camera and not want to listen to you when you ask them not to film it? Like, seriously, that's your answer? Is for the government to spend more money on useless bullshit because maybe someday some idiot might maybe come in with the camera?
So dumb.
I'm telling you, man, it's insane the way these people. Well, no, I was going to say it's insane the way they think, but they don't think. They're idiots. They can't think.
I respond to any call that the public, I'm a public servant. I respond to any call that they call me out. Whether it's a cat in a tree, I respond out. I'm just here to talk to you guys.
Cat in a tree? You really do that?
Sir,
Well, emergency services, you know, I guess it's kind of emergency.
I don't know. I think firefighters usually do that.
I'm at gate 521.
How you doing? I'm good.
Good.
More than once. And they are on our property with
That is bogus.
Officer Johnson, I'm worried about their safety as trucks pull in here. Yeah, of course. And they're not wearing the safety gear or anything like that.
Safety gear. Look, they all drive these undercover cars here.
So what's going on today, guys? How come you guys are recording?
Well, because it's our First Amendment right to do so.
Yeah, I don't have to answer those questions. We're on the public.
Sir, I'm just here to ask you questions.
Well, no. She said that we're on her property, private property.
Well, she's asking
But
me.
I don't know where these telephones are on their private property. You know what I mean?
These telephone poles right here?
Yeah.
They're owned by the county. The county can come and
For the news. The news.
don't.
For my news. Work with your news.
Come on, you're a public servant. You don't need to put your hand in front of your
I
face.
put my anywhere I want.
Yes,
Because there's cameras in my face.
You know what? You can't yell to you.
Yo, you're a public servant.
I'm not yelling.
Are you your employer?
I'm not yelling.
Are you your employer?
You're not my employer,
How
sir.
much you want to bet? I pay
Pull your money
taxes.
out.
I pay taxes.
Oh, that means I need a raise. You want to give me a raise?
No.
Oh, okay.
You need to fucking do that.
Okay,
You need to
sir.
have
Thank
your
you.
salary cut in half.
Thank you.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Thank you. You have ID?
No, I need it. I do.
Yeah, you do. Now
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Now you're using it properly.
Don't make a mistake, sir. Do not make a mistake.
I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. This isn't Nazi Germany. Why is it that anytime anyone asks any of these idiots for an ID, they compare it to Nazi Germany? Where the hell does that come from? You're talking about someone saying, may I have your ID? Because they want to see if you're a Jew. And if you are, they're going to shoot you in the head with a freaking bullet in your brain. And you're comparing that to a cop asking you for ID on the street because you're arguing and acting like a dick face and auditing a private business. That's a slight difference there, pal. You're not going to take a bullet to the head if he doesn't like what it says in your ID.
Yeah, and thanks for making a mockery of something that was tragic and horrible that we actually fought against. Like you're watering down something that is a big slight in our humans' history, and it's something that we need to learn from, not use as some sort of get me out of jail free card. Like that's so disrespectful, not only to the people that died, but the people that fought for that war. It's a very aggravating thing for me too. And then the other thing, you don't get to tell that cop what he has to do and not do. Yeah, you got your free speech, but he knows his job, and his job, you don't get to dictate that. So another thing that I hate is that then telling them what they need to do in their job. No. You don't get to tell them that. They know their job and they're going to do it however they need to do it. Now, if you don't want to have any bad blood between them, just follow their directions and everything will be fine. And one more thing with the whole electrical post thing or whatever, that you don't you're not a city planner. You don't know nothing about what the private areas are. I don't care where you think you get your information from or whatever, unless you're the city zoning manager. You do not know what's private property there, so don't make guesses.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Like they love to like throw out these ideas of whose property is what and this and that, and it's like it's so insanely blatantly obvious. Like, okay, when they're this goes back to what I always say is that like with my audit, whatever joke or not, when I was walking around in downtown Nashville, I was just filming. And that's the excuse these guys always love to use. Well, I'm just filming. It's like you didn't set up your tripod on a very specific spot and point it at a very specific company without a very specific reason. So what's the reason? Because you knew that it would look suspicious. You knew it would make the employees call the cops. You knew it would make the cops come out. So when they come, you should say, hey, you passed because you did exactly what I wanted you to do. You showed up. Thank you for showing up. Good job. Have a nice day. Like, no, because the whole point is to bait them into an argument. And I love the fact that the arguments are against okay, see, I'm trying to logically explain the illogical. That's why my words are getting mangled now, because how do you explain something that's stupid, that doesn't make any sense? They're trying to do that on purpose, but the purpose is to do that on purpose. It's like they're circular arguments, right? It's like, okay, our whole point is to get the cops to come so we could argue with the cops so we could get AdSense revenue. But in the process of doing so, we're going to sell our audience on this idea that we're here standing up for freedom and rights. No, you're not. You're arguing with the cops to argue with the cops. That's the purpose. The purpose isn't to stand up for the First Amendment. It's to argue with the cops. And this is another thing, because David just said this in the chat. Yeah, he's back. Is there a crime being committed? Once again, are they in handcuffs? Who's saying they're committing a crime? Why do they always do that? What's up, Ironton? I can never understand that.
So let me get this straight. David needs a crime to be committed before he feels disrespected. So he can't be disrespected without a crime being committed. Is that the logic?
No, I think the idea is that the cops should just sit in a corner and cry like babies until someone gets murdered and never, ever, ever do anything to investigate ever. And if you murder someone and it's not right there in front of a cop's face, they can't arrest you because they weren't there when you did it, right? Because they would have to investigate, and there is no investigation. This investigation doesn't exist. A cop cannot ask you a question because I don't like the cops. They're meanies that are mean, and I don't like them. So leave me alone, Mr. Policeman.
Yeah, and look, David just said, I get disrespected on this channel all the time, and there's no crime. But you still get disrespected, right? You still get your feelings hurt, right? You still get butthurt. You just answered your own question. You can get disrespected without there being a crime, and you have every right to be upset if someone disrespects you. Nobody's taking that right away from you. Nobody's taking that right away from you.
Jerry, I got to disagree with you on that one, man. You know why?
What?
My feelings don't trump the Constitution. When? What are you going to call the feelings police? You got your feelings hurt? Well, guess what? The law doesn't trump your feelings, buddy. So deal with it. Let's get back to this stupidity.
To a German.
Proper.
This is not Nazi Germany.
What's
I
Nazi
can say whatever the fuck I want. This is
What's
proper.
Nazi
saying
Germany?
what you
You
want.
say
to
yes or
America.
Okay,
no?
that means what?
That means I don't need ID. I don't need
Yeah, you
papers
do.
to travel.
You can't just walk around using
How much you want to bet?
Of course we
Put your
can.
money out.
How
It's
much you wanna
called
bet?
freedom of
How much you wanna bet?
speech.
Put some money on the table.
Put it.
Oh,
Put
you
it.
wanna bet?
You want to bet your job on it? Want to
Bet
bet
your
your
job
job
on
on
it.
it? Bet your job on
Bet
it.
your
Lose
job on it.
Are they in
qualified
cuffs?
immunity.
Are
You
they
know
in
what that
cuffs?
is?
Are they in
Qualified
cuffs?
immunity
I'm not talking
will come after your truck,
He talking
your
to you right
boat.
now. I'm not talking to you.
Will come
talking to
after
you.
your truck, your
That's what I
boat.
thought.
Is
Hey,
he beating
Harrison.
them with the stick right
You have
now?
ID?
I don't need it.
Yeah, you did.
No.
Jesus
Now you be acting like
Christ.
I just want to know, like, why you guys recording.
Why we're being free?
This is just a conversation.
I know. I'm cool. All right, let's be cool.
It's
Want to know why we're
I'm just
being?
out here talking to
Yeah,
you.
all
Like,
right.
getting smart with me. Like, I ain't do nothing to you guys. I'm just asking.
I'm with you, Johnson. Patrolman Johnson. I am here being free.
Okay.
I bought this camera, the cell phone at the store.
Uh-huh.
I don't need no background check to buy a camera, right? Is that true? Do you know that? You bought a camera before?
Yeah, you don't need a background check.
Right. So we're just exercising our freedom on the public. Right here on the easement. You see where that utility pole is? You kind of are on their property. We're not.
Yeah, I'm
We're
here because
before
I
it.
was called here.
Yeah.
I understand, but so do you guys? What do you do with the footage? I'm just asking you. Just
Whatever we
conversation.
want to do with the
Okay, that's
footage, we can do that because
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand if we get called out, we come to any type of
I understand.
Like,
you're gonna
I'm not
call.
here
They're
trying
gonna
to hassle
call.
you
You're gonna
guys.
come.
Yeah,
He is.
I'm not trying to
He
get
is. He's
hassled.
absolutely trying to hassle us.
You know, I'm
He
just
said he was
asking
gonna
you
lock me in for
guys.
filming.
I didn't say that.
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah, I don't know
Exactly
where
what
this
you
guy
said. I got
came
it on
from
film,
here.
bro.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
how
bet money
people
you
pay
bet
their
your
tax
camera
dollars
didn't
towards
say
this
that.
guy.
You ain't gonna like
I
it.
bet your camera
He's a
didn't
little
say that.
different
About
right here.
50,000 people about to see what you said, bro.
So yeah, we're just free Americans,
Did any of you
filming.
guys used to work here or anything like that, or you guys just come to?
I don't
certain
answer
places?
questions. No, sorry.
We were just having a conversation.
I'm sorry. I just don't answer the personal questions. Yeah.
Absolutely, that's fine.
I mean, this guy is out of his brain, and he has a gun on his hip. I mean, this dude should not even be working
You
here.
definitely need a drug test.
Did he shoot you? Did he pull it out and threaten you with it?
I don't feel safe with somebody that's so nervous with a gun on their hip the way that he has one. I don't think that he should have a gun on his hip.
You know, those snowflakes, they love to flaunt their authority like they got some.
Projecting.
That's hilarious. I love it when they do that. Look at these snowflakes. It's like, you're the ones that cry like a bunch of babies when a cop comes and asks you a question. Who's the snowflake? Like, do you have an ID? You can't ask me for ID. Crying like a bunch of little babies and then calling them snowflakes. Notice, wait.
Yeah.
Look at this still image right now. Listen to everything they're saying, right? The false narrative that they're selling to their fans. Who's standing back 15 feet further back from where this whole interaction started? They are. The cops, that guy ain't moved an inch. And they were trying to get them to back off, and they backed off. And the whole time they're talking trash, but who's actually physically moving back? The frauditors. Because
because they know that no matter how jerkish they're acting, that if they move an inch, that's going to be enough for the cops to be like, okay, they're moving. So they give their concessions here and there, but they'll never show that to their audience. As a matter of fact, sometimes you'll see some suspicious cuts in their videos you're like, wait, what happened there? You know? But all of a sudden, they'll be like, oh, this tyrant wanted to do this and this and that to me or whatever, and it's like, I don't know about that guy.
Right. It is. It's crazy sometimes to look at and see. Well, it's not crazy sometimes. It's crazy every time to see the way these guys build these false narratives and tell these stories and do these things in their videos while at the same time they're like, I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to comply while they're complying, right? And I love the fact that they're always like, well, look at these tyrants trying to do this and that. If they were tyrants, these guys would be on the ground, bleeding, handcuffed to a post, maybe taking a beating right now. Like, what are you talking about? Because he asked you for ID. For all of these guys, the number one cardinal sin in the universe is to ask them for ID. Like, why? Like, why can't they ask you?
Because it's somehow incriminating to give somebody to give a cop your ID when that's the only way you're gonna make sure everything is okay between you and the cop. Supposedly,
Right.
because they don't commit crimes, right? They don't have no warrants, they don't do nothing bad. So giving up your ID shouldn't be a problem. You give your ID, the cop sees you, checks it out real quick. You got nothing on your record. Hey, this guy's a pretty decent guy. Then he is probably just filming out here. Probably doing something for a story, like he says, since he's got no criminal record. I mean, he doesn't have any trespassing or going to locations where he's been trespassed like 1,000 times. No, well, of course not. So he's obviously good, but they don't want to because they do have that. They do have trespassing charges. They do have all these criminal records and stuff like that. They're making it about supposedly the what is it? What do they say? The Fourth Amendment or the Fifth Amendment they try to bring up, but
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with what's happening because the Fifth Amendment protects you from incriminating yourself. Now, if you've already committed a crime, then yes, plead the Fifth. But you have not committed a crime, you're not suspected of one. Give the ID. It's only going to clear you up. And if you're talking about the Fourth Amendment, asking for your ID is not a search and seizure. Not even the pat down is a search and seizure. So that's out the window. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Well, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's the problem, because you're exactly right. Listen, if the Fifth Amendment is specifically written to protect people from incriminating themselves, because in the old days, before there was a Fifth Amendment, right, it was like you had to say, if you robbed a bank, you had to say, I robbed the bank, right? Like, and they would literally torture you until you said that. And obviously, they didn't want to keep doing that. So now you have the right not to say anything if what you say would incriminate you, right? So when they say, I plead the Fifth, well, okay, you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to specifically admit that you committed a crime. But if you're pleading the Fifth, that's basically like saying, I committed a crime. I'm just not going to say it out loud. Because you also, if you didn't commit the crime, don't want anything you say to be able to be misinterpreted into you admitting a crime. So that's fine. But just asking for ID, what does that have to do with anything unless you actually are doing something? Like, well, I have the right not to answer your questions. Okay, fine. But still show me your ID. Like, that has nothing to do. Like you said, that's not search or seizure. That's not. They always forget the unreasonable or reasonable parts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Telling someone before they go into a courthouse that having to go through a medical detector is unreasonable search and seizure. How is that unreasonable? People that got convicted want to shoot the judge. They want to shoot the prosecutor. They want to shoot their defense attorney for not getting them off. There are plenty of reasonable reasons why someone would want to go into a courthouse armed to hurt someone. So it's not unreasonable to expect that. Right? If you come to a place where you don't belong and you're filming it, okay, you legally have the right to film. Well, guess what? These people aren't being tackled. They're not being beaten. They're not being shackled. They're just asking them what's going on. And they refuse to answer, which makes it look even more suspicious. And yet they're still not in trouble for it because nobody gets in trouble for filming. It's everything else around it.
Yeah, and then the demeanor of the cops, and this thing that I hate is that you're gonna push back on a cop or try to act like he's a tyrant because he's trying to pull some authority. But the thing is that I don't want cops to pull back on their authority. I want them to be authoritative when it comes to upholding the law. So I'm not mad if that cop has to talk to a frauditor like some sort of child or to yell at him or whatever. That's his job. I hope that that's what he does. I don't want him to act like he's in customer service. He's not in customer service. He's in upholding the law for the public, for our safety, to make sure that we're good. So I don't want a cop to act like he's the customer service agent over here, and I'm gonna get your shoe shine for you. You know what I mean? No, no, man, no. He's an officer of the law. Respect him as the officer of the law. If you don't, he deserves to get his respect. And
Right.
we shouldn't be admonishing them for taking out jerks like these guys. Even if they do take them out of jail real fast, go let them spend the night in jail. Go let them sit in the drunk tank for 8 hours, whatever. Let them think about what the hell they're doing. Reflect on their goddamn lives. Because the thing is that the one thing that I don't like coming from the officer side is these guys that are treating them like you're not customer service. Okay, I don't.
Right.
The firefighters, when they're putting out a fire, if they're putting out a fire out in the woods and I'm walking up to the woods and they say, "Hey man, get the hell out of here," I'm not gonna tell them, "Oh, it's my right to walk right here. It's my right."
Right.
You know? So it's like, dude, if the cop has to show his authority, I'm absolutely fine with that. As long as it's within the guise of the law, it's fine. So I don't know what the hell these guys are talking about. I think the officers are carrying themselves, conducting themselves in a very respectful and correct manner. So as far as I could tell, they're doing a great job, and these auditors are jerks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Real quick, let me say hello to some of the people who just joined us. Mitch Norris, I don't know if I said hello to you earlier. Let's see, we got Dino in the house. What's up? Blue Vaughn, Inanna. Welcome. Good to see you, Mitch Norris. I don't remember who I said hello to and didn't, so I'm just trying to go over and make sure I always try to give everyone a shout out. Blue Vaughn, what's up? Good to see you guys all here. Love my morning crew. You guys are the best. Dave is in the house. Hey, Corrections 101. What's up? Good to see you. It definitely is amazing to me to look at this situation and how it goes over and over and over with these arguments that they circular arguments that these guys make is always the same thing. It's like, it's legal for me to stand here and record. Yes, it is. We're just asking you why. That's all we're doing. We're trying to find out because it's not normal. Unicorn Mafia, what's up? It's not a thing. And this is one of my big arguments that I love to make, and I say this all the time. If these guys got their wish and the government gave a federal order that from now on, anytime anyone with a camera walks into anywhere, you are to absolutely leave them alone and not touch them. If that became the law, what would happen? What did they win? What did they change? One, now you can film in a post office. Okay, so what? Other than you idiots who wants to film in a post office. So what did you win? Nothing. You didn't change anything because nobody wants to do that. Oh, well, now you could film in a library and not be bothered. Cool. So what? Other than you idiots who wants to film in a library. You want to stand outside a business and film their trucks. Fine. But not only would that not change anything, there actually would be a change. As soon as it became public knowledge, it's a big thing that now anyone with a camera has to be completely left alone. Now, let's say you actually are a criminal and you hear that. It's on the news and everyone starts talking about it. Wait a minute. All I have to do to get away with a crime is walk into the building and pull out my phone and pretend I'm recording. Now they have to leave me alone. Cool. Now I'm going to go plant a bomb because as long as I got my camera out, they're going to leave me alone.
Oh shit!
So
not even planned. I'm the suicide bomber. I walk in with these things that look like cameras, and that's it. That's it. There goes the plan right there.
Exactly. So it's like if they win, one, they're not going to, as far as the First Amendment and all that goes, they're not going to make a damn bit of difference because nobody wants to do what they're doing except for them. And two, they're going to make it way easier for real criminals to commit crimes. Hey, out there, associates, what's up? Yeah, and again, like I said, it's just going to make it easier for criminals to commit crime, because if it becomes official policy to leave anyone with a camera alone, all criminals have to do is pull out their camera, and now they have to be left alone. So now they can go commit their crimes as long as they're holding their phone. Nobody's going to stop them. So that's it. And it's a horrible, 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 horrible thing. And these guys are spreading this horrible misinformation, and they have no idea, which is even more insane to me, the possible damage that they could commit. Just the other day, yesterday, I was covering a video where Frauditor Troll did, where these districts and these counties and these cities and these people are starting to make laws that actually do limit the First Amendment, which is bad. These guys are supposedly fighting against those laws that don't exist, but they're causing them to become laws. What they're doing is causing these laws to become a thing.
And check this out. David is over here. A TV news crew was arrested 2 days ago for filming at a public park. Citation needed, okay? Don't be like Rogue Nation. Don't come in here talking about this happened and I did this and I did that, and you're nothing of what you're saying is what happened. Citation needed. Bring the news story. Bring the link. Let us judge it for what it is. Don't come over here and just say things like that, because that's not the way I work. I have to see things for myself. I don't follow anybody just because they tell me. I'm not over here saying these things about fraudsters because I just believe them because I was listening to Hezokuai. It's because I watched them with my 2 eyes. I've experienced things. I know things, and therefore that's the way I judge them. Don't come over here with your anecdotes and be like, oh, this happened, and so therefore that's the world. That's not the way it works, buddy. You need a citation. You need to bring it. You need to see the proof. We need to see it with our 2 eyes, and we need to judge it from the criteria that we judge it from.
And here's a big part of that. And I love to use this. I actually think this is a perfect example of that. The video, oh, and it's cool. He just brought it up. Just like the blind guy that got arrested and nobody believed me. That's funny that he followed up with that, because that's what I was just about to bring up. That video is actually my favorite example of this, because what happens? Ultimately, the result of that video was, and again, I don't know the specifics of like if there were any court cases or anything, or if it's all still moving. There's still a lot of moving pieces trying to figure out the ultimate outcome. But I'll give David this, that in that particular case, ultimately, the police were found to have taken it too far. Okay. All right, fine. The police crossed the line. Good, great. If you came in here saying, hey, there's a video here where these 2 cops get in trouble for arresting this guy, and then I went back and I watched the video and they got in trouble, I'd say, oh, okay, cool. No problem. But that's not what he says. What he says is there's a video of a blind guy with his walking stick getting arrested for having a walking stick. And then you actually watch the video. When you hear that, before you saw the video, when you hear him say that, what you picture in your head is a blind guy with dark glasses on with his walking stick walking down the street, tapping on the street with his stick to try and find his way. And then the cops just grab him and lock him up. But then you watch the video, none of those things happened. The dude was just walking down the street. He wasn't acting or looking blind at all. He's technically legally blind. And he has a walking stick in case it gets dark out. That's when he can't see, in his pocket, folded up. So he didn't have it out, so they had no idea it was a walking stick. He was just walking down the street, so they had no idea he was blind. So when you try to sell us on the idea that This guy's just walking down the street, and all of a sudden the police just attack him for no reason. And then you watch the video, and none of those things happen. Now, ultimately, wherever it led, were the cops wrong? Maybe they were. But that's not the story you're telling us. So there's no credibility to you guys. Like, my point is, even if you show us a video where the cops legitimately did do something wrong, the way you spin it and the way you sell it is not what happens in the video. It's a lie. It's a false narrative.
Yeah, and I would say the fact that he's a blind man doesn't make the story, because blind men can commit crimes. A blind man is not he just because he's blind, it doesn't absolve him from the law. He still has to follow the law. Now, maybe we'll excuse certain things because he's blind, of course, but that shouldn't be the story. If the cops did do something that was wrong, they went too far, whatever the case may be, that should be the narrative of the story. Not a blind man gets arrested, because it seems extreme, but in my eyes, I see, oh, what, a blind man can't commit a crime? Then you turn me off to the wanting to see that video, because all I'm thinking is that they're upset because a blind man got arrested. Just like saying, oh, there was a black guy who got arrested, it just because. And it's like, really, just because? That doesn't happen. People don't just get arrested just because. And I would say this, yeah, sometimes cops do go too far. Sometimes there are situations where there's a cop that can't control himself, like the situation with the shooter at the McDonald's. That cop that decided to go check on that one kid, and he was wrong for that, right? So those types of mistakes do happen. But I would say, what put you in that situation? What put you in the situation where a cop had to go see what you were doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the interaction with the cops just doesn't happen either.
That's the thing, and that's an extremely important point. Thank you for bringing that up, because there's so many situations where it's like, well, the cops just did this for no reason, and they just did that for no reason. And it's like, okay, so wait a minute. Just let me ask these guys, all of them, why you? If you literally are never doing anything wrong, why did the cops decide to target you? Because when I walk down the street, I'm not getting tackled by cops just for walking down the street. How come you are? Well, because I have a camera. I have a camera. I have a camera phone. It's in my pocket all day, every day. So no, that doesn't happen. There's always a reason. The problem is they never want to accept the reason. Goes back to the whole, like, driving and getting pulled over for not having a license plate deal. The cop pulled me over for no reason. That's the story. And then you ask, what happened? Well, I was driving and he pulled me over because I didn't have plates. Whoa, I thought you said he pulled you over for no reason. Well, he did. But you just said it's because you didn't have plates. That's a reason. Maybe you don't like the reason, but it's a reason. Well, these cops were bothering me just because I had my camera. No, they bothered you because you're standing there for 45 minutes with your tripod, filming a business, looking suspicious. That's a reason. You might not like the reason, but it's a reason.
Yeah, and the other part too is that, like, the whole point of cop watching is to see cops doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. So if you see a cop going outside of the lines, you see a cop out in the streets and it looks like he bothers people just because he wants to or whatever, and you get these, reports that this is happening. So you go out there with your camera and you try to capture them doing this. You're not supposed to create the conflict that's going to put you in front of the cop that's angry with you. Like, that doesn't show anything that the cop is doing wrong, because you're basically showing them that hey, I'm right here, I'm doing this, and the conflict that's going on, he's not going to go outside of bounds or anything like that. He's not going to do something that's not that he wouldn't do in front of his superiors, because the cop is in front, the camera's in front of his face. He knows he's going to behave. He's going to work within the bounds of the law. So if you're looking for corruption, that's not the way to find it. That's not the way to look to report on it. You have to figure out where the crimes are happening and try to catch them when they're not looking. That would be a better way to catch.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like he dropped himself again. Anyway, hey, what's up, William Grammer? Amateur entrapment. Let's stay together, Rash Crew. It's not the camera, it's the person behind the camera. That's right. This is the problem, okay? These guys, with all of their nonsense and all of the BS that they're always trying to spin these false narratives and all this crap, right? Which is ultimately what we're talking about right now, is the way that they go about it is so much of it. And it's so difficult to try and explain things to people who are incapable of, they have no capacity for rational thought, right? So you try to ask him these questions and he's back. See, he changed his name because it's a conspiracy. The frauditors keep kicking him out.
They're like, don't let him talk anymore.
News Now Enemy brought something up. There was one not long ago where somebody, I don't remember who, maybe it was Big West when he first started. I don't remember who, but somebody was trying to, I think it was Big West. They were trying to do a UPS and they were in the wrong building and it was a private business. And he's like, oh yeah, is this the UPS store? And they're like, no, that's across the street. He's like, oh, okay. And he kept filming and they're like, hey, you know, you gotta get out of here. And he's like, well, this is a public place. I can film all I want. And they're like, no, this isn't a public place. This is a private business. Yeah, but this is a public building where I'm at. No, it's not. And that's one of the big things that all of these guys love to do is like, well, how do I know that I don't belong here? Because we just told you. Now get the hell out. Like they don't understand that. Somebody, Graham says when you got kicked, he's like, get him out of here. He's talking too much sense.
We don't need common sense in YouTube. Get him out of here now.
Yeah, right. You're not supposed to say smart things.
No, the big West, the one that made me laugh was the one where he went into that building that was obviously private businesses. I mean,
that's the one we were just talking about. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so hilarious. And then he's still trying to like, oh, are you sure? Like, yeah, dude, we're pretty sure.
I'm so glad that he learned his lesson fast and just quit the whole frauditing thing, because that is
well. Then you see, this is the thing that I say about fraudsters. They really do betray themselves a lot. They betray themselves a lot, and Big West is a big example of that. You know, he didn't know what he was getting himself into. He thought that it was going to be, you know, he sees all of his heroes that edit videos and don't tell the truth about what they're going through, and he put himself out there, and he realized that shit is real, and you can get put in jail and you can get your freedoms taken away because you're doing dumb things like trespassing. But unlike all the other frauditors, he learned his lesson the first time. He was done. He was like, you know what? This is not for me. It's not worth the YouTube revenue, and you know what? I'm out of it. And you know, big ups to him for you know, learning his lesson. I give him a lot of credit for that, even though I mean I still think he's dumb, but I give him credit for at least learning something. You know, that at least he learned that he was dumb. So that's a tread in the right direction. You know, so you know, good on him. And the other part is that most of these guys, they don't tell the truth about their stuff, about what's going on with them. Some of them have made it to the point where they even lie about the court cases that are going on. This is why people like Mark Stout are doing the right thing when it comes to these guys, because he's showing what one auditor is going through with all of his court cases, and he's right behind them and all the stuff that he's doing. I love that, because that's what the public needs to see. They need to see the truth about what's going on and what people are really getting arrested for. Stupid Long Island Audit says they arrested me because they because of my filming. They took away my rights to filming or whatever. They violated my rights. He loves to say that, right? But no, you didn't.
Take it easy, Ikiss. Good luck. Sorry, Ikiss is saying goodbye. Bye, Ikiss.
Bye, Ikiss.
God
Have
bless.
a good morning. Yeah, well, Long Island like to say they violated my rights. They violated my rights. They didn't violate your rights, man. You trespassed. They got you for trespassing. That was your charge. You know.
Yeah.
He likes to say, "Oh, it's because they know me. They got butthurt, and so that's why they didn't want me there." No, dude, you were harassing the security guard, and it was obvious. You filmed it yourself. You filmed your own crime. It's like these guys, they betray themselves at every step of the way, but yet they don't understand why they're getting. Well, they probably do understand, but the thing is that they try to make their audience make it seem like it's about rights and it's about freedom of speech or whatever. And the thing is that it's none of that. It's none of that because up to this point, I have yet to be bothered if I pull out my camera and start filming at a park where other people are filming. If I'm being respectful and I'm not filming people that don't want to be filmed, I haven't. I haven't been told by cops that I can't film them if I wanted to at a stop, which I have done before because I've gotten nervous a couple of times about other situations. And I can tell you about some real corruption and some real people that did some bad stuff, but I don't blame all the cops for those people. I don't do that. I wouldn't do that with a regular person. See, the thing is that I don't see the police as anything different than me. I see them as a person like me that goes to work. They just happen to put on a uniform and enforce the law. So when I interact with them, it has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with what I did. So if I can clear it up, fine. But if it's something that I did wrong, I'm willing to be corrected because I don't want to do it again. It's plain
Oh
and
yeah.
simple. It's common sense.
And there's so many stories of so many situations where it's like, have you ever heard of? I mean, it's a movie, but it's based on a true story, whatever. But have you ever heard of Serpico?
Serpico?
Yeah, it's a movie, but it's about a real guy whose last name was Serpico. Basically, what happened was, in real life, what happened was this guy was a cop, but his job in the police force specifically was to really get into like the really get deep down the rabbit hole into the meat and potatoes of the bad cops to bust the bad cops. All right. He was a cop whose job it was to bust bad cops. And a lot of people like to try and use this like example because again, even though that was a movie, it's based on a real case. They
Is
like
that
to take
internet god? I'm sorry.
huh?
Is that the link for internet god?
No, I think that's a link for something else that they were talking about earlier.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, the point is, a lot of these guys like to use something like that as an example of like, because they talk about the thin blue line this and the thin blue line that. And it's like, well, cops who are specifically working to expose bad cops should show you that it's not every single cop is going to support every single other cop, no matter whatever. That should prove the opposite is true, that there are cops that are out there trying to stop the corrupt ones, right? They do exist. That's why I did a video the other day where this guy was complaining about having to go to internal affairs to report bad behavior from a cop. It's like, so wait, you're going to argue about the thin blue line, but you would rather go through them to like you have a problem with the fact that they want you to go to internal affairs so that a third party can investigate them? Like you should be happy and celebrating the fact that they have a third party that investigates them and that you don't go to the cops to investigate the cops. But again, they always move the goalposts and you can never win with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what, Hezekiah? I think what I'm gonna do for another time is I'm gonna gather you some of the videos that I've seen where cops have stopped other cops from from committing crimes and ones that actually have investigated and taken out corruption or taken out individual cops that are committing crimes. Because I have plenty of those examples as well. I one of them that I know people know about is that one sheriff deputy who was he was he was having sexual relations with can I say that? I can say that, right?
Yeah, you didn't say the grape word.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was basically messing around with kids underage. He was doing it through Snapchat, thinking that his Snapchats, because they deleted, they wouldn't be able to find him out. And so he was basically blackmailing these young girls that were like 15, 13 years old, telling them, I won't take you to jail if you give me, whatever, right? And so he thought he was getting away with it. And so they investigated him. And then there's an interrogation video where they basically, like call him out on all of his bullshit, and they arrest him right there. They arrest him on the spot. And it's a perfect example of how cops are not protecting other cops from committing crimes. If anything, the thin blue line is just a solidarity for cops that are doing good, that want to continue to serve the public, but know that they need to stand together because there's so many false narratives that they can't fight against. I mean, it's so unfair because it's like one story goes out and it travels throughout the whole world. One bad cop can ruin it. And the thing is that we don't ever stop to think about it's one cop out of a million, it's a big country, it's a big population. Nobody ever factors that in. That if there is a mistake, you got to think of the percentages. Because, we could talk about 10 cases per year, but how many stops are there per day? How many interactions with cops are there per day? How many people, have to deal with a situation that they didn't want to deal with because of a domestic violence or something, you know what I mean? But the cops are there. And we don't think about that stuff. All we think about is, oh, look at this horrible cop. Look at this horrible cop. Yeah, that one horrible cop.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but we've had this argument going on in the chat for like half an hour where David's talking about this journalist who got arrested, and it's a lackluster video. And I didn't realize that was the video he was talking about. So yeah, here it is. Boom. I know all about this video. Here, check it out.
500 homes, many of which were mobile homes and other forms of affordable housing. As a result, many were left homeless and without a place to go. The fire burned through the towns of Talent and Phoenix, and as a result, camps were set up throughout the public parks in the nearby city of Medford. Eventually, the Medford police were tasked to sweep a camp in Hawthorne Park to urge people to explore openings in nearby shelters and campgrounds. The city of Medford blurred this entire video, and I will address this more at the end of the publication.
The park is closed now, and if you stay here, you'd be trespassing.
Okay, what kind of kids might shove the gate?
What's that?
What kind of kids might shove the gate? I gotta get my Monopoly kid down there.
Yeah, you're free, but you have to leave the park now.
What time?
Right now the park is closed. Okay?
Hello, sir. It's time to head out. The park's closed. Sir, it's time to head out. The park's closed.
Where do you want people to go?
You have to leave the park. The park's
to
closed.
The Greenway where it's all burned down?
Our mission right now is to clear the park out, okay? That's what we need to do.
Where do you want people to go?
You have to leave.
Just to
you have to leave, sir.
To the Greenway?
Okay.
Is that services? Thank you.
I guess we just find out who's going to cooperate, and then we start doing what we got to do.
Okay, everybody. We need to leave. But...
Yeah.
This isn't my tent, my friend Damien.
Okay, well, if you leave it here, we're going to end up seizing it, so it's up to you.
And he didn't get a notice, he told me.
Okay, well, we've been very good about our notices.
After speaking to a few people, the officers come into contact with various reporters who are told to stand in an area off the 20-acre park's grounds, next to a noisy freeway and with an obstructed view of their operations.
How you doing?
Good, how about you?
Good. Park's closed.
Okay.
So you have to leave.
Okay.
So if you want to, you can go up to the sidewalk or something. Just don't make big obstruction, but
cool. I'm able to walk back down here to get my car after I'm done.
No, you need to leave. You need to take your car out of here.
Okay.
So if you can do that, we appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. So it's closed. It's going to be closed for 48 hours. We're giving everybody a chance to get out. Thank you. How you guys doing? Park's closed, guys. You need to leave immediately. You're now committing the crime of trespass. Okay. I'm just letting you know. So if you guys want to go watch or video, you can do it from outside the park. But if you don't leave the park immediately, you will be arrested for trespassing. Okay? Hey, these two are refusing to leave.
These two are refusing?
Yeah. Are you leaving? Are you leaving?
Yes.
Okay. Then,
See us walking?
Then leave, please. Thank you. That's all. Just letting you know.
There's Trinity already. She's already engaging with them in discussion. So we need to send them out. Okay. Hey guys, it's time to head out. Park's closed.
Yeah, it's closed.
Can you just tell me?
No, there's no discussion right now. The park's closed. Park's closed. You got to leave right now.
Where are these people supposed to go?
Okay, you have to go right now.
Can you just tell me from a human to a human?
Not right now. You got to head out. Park's closed.
You don't have a park.
Park's closed.
This is his family.
Okay, the park's closed. You got to head out.
Eventually, Sergeant First approaches reporter April Ehrlich, who was displaying her press badge and carried clearly visible audio recording equipment.
Okay, so here's the deal. You're committing the crime of trespass right now. So if you're not leaving, then you're going to get arrested.
If your nose is not in your mask, it doesn't help.
Can I help you?
I'm a reporter.
Okay, so what you need to do is you need to go up there and contact Trevor Arnold. If you do not leave the park,
and I'm reporting on this.
Okay, you're trespassing.
I'm not trespassing.
Yes, you are.
This is a public park.
The park is closed.
This is for my job.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, you're committing the crime of trespass. The park is closed. You have to leave. Okay, you're under arrest. You're under arrest. You're under arrest.
Despite her pleadings with the officers, April is now arrested and led to a police cruiser.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay.
Okay, so now, what? Once again, as always, what happens? We're told. Oh, no, wait, because I'm going back to what was going on in the chat, right? We're told that this actual legit reporter is filming a story, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the cops tackle her and drag her away for no reason. But that's not what happened. What happened was the cops spent all day telling everyone, hey, we know there was a fire, and you guys ran from the fire and came to this park to get away. We get that. We understand it. The city has all bunch of things set up for you people to help you guys out, but you can't just live in the park. That's not a thing. So the park is going to be closed for now, and everyone has to leave. They're telling everybody that. Everybody knows at this point. They've been going around and around and around, making sure everybody knows you guys got to leave. Telling the reporters, if you want to film, you have to go stand over there to film. So they ask her, and she says, no, I'm not leaving. So boom, right there at that moment. You can argue all day about whether or not the cops were right. But the second they ask her to leave and she says no, boom, she's not getting arrested for filming. Your story's crap. That's not what happened in the video. Were the cops wrong? Maybe. But when you tell me that you have a video of someone getting arrested for filming and they get arrested after being asked to move and not moving, that's not filming. That's trespassing.
We see, Hezekiah, this is what I'm talking about, though. People are going to go against the cops and say, oh, look at what the cops are doing. The cops didn't make that decision. The cops didn't make the decision for the people not to be at the park. The cops were told to go over there and get the people out of the park. They cannot refuse the order. Now, I don't know if that's a completely public park, or maybe it's a public park that's owned by a private company, because that happens. And there's all kinds of situations why that park cannot be used. And so they were told, you need to get people out of that park. And unfortunately, that's what they had to do. If you go back and look at when those cops are telling people to leave, they don't look happy about it. They're not having a cheery good time that they're telling people to go. They know that this sucks. But they're telling everybody, look, you're committing the crime of trespassing. If you stay, you gotta go. And we don't know how long. Yeah, we can sit here and say, oh yeah, they just got in there, started throwing people out. We don't know how long they were there telling people to leave. And
right.
Another thing, you saw that guy, that cameraman that was with another journalistic company or whatever. They told him, you gotta go. You gotta go. What did he do? Put his camera down. He walked straight to his car. Yep. Why couldn't she do that? The thing is that they're gonna make the cops look like the bad guys because they have to do that tough job. Nobody says that they like doing it or that they don't feel good about it. The thing is that it's their job. if they're told to do it, they have to do it.
Right. Well, now wait. That's interesting because you said that just now is perfect. Because Dave says, well, what if the cops are told to shoot everybody? Do they just follow orders? And that goes back to another argument that these guys always make is like, well, the Nazis were just following orders. You're just following orders. But there's a huge the fact that their tiny little insignificant non-working brains cannot comprehend the difference between the police being told, okay, the situation in this particular area is getting out of control. We need to do something to control the situation. Everyone is just deciding that they want to live in this park, and we can't do that. The city has resources set up specifically for these people to get the help they need. So they got to get out of the park. How can you not understand that that's different from them saying, hey, just go shoot everybody in the park? Because that's not what happened at all. And it wouldn't happen. I hate when they use that example. Well, the Nazis were just following orders. Yeah, but their orders were go shoot people, right? These guys, they're not doing that.
And by the way, historically, there were people who were against what was going on as far as them taking the Jews to concentration camps and killing them and stuff like that. They protested against it. Of course, they got thrown into those concentration camps themselves for going up against it. But that's what there was people that actually went against it. And I'm pretty sure that if there's ever a situation like that in the United States, which I know there will never be, but if there is that type of situation, I'm sure there's enough people who are decent, who are good-hearted, that would be like, I'm not gonna go shoot people. You can have your badge back, and I'm gonna not do this whatever the hell you're asking me to do. That's the thing, is that you guys think that the people who became officers because they think like you do, because you guys think when you become officers that you're gonna have all the power and you're gonna be able to do whatever you want. But that's not the way it works. People who take on the responsibility of having the power of an officer, they understand that it's a responsibility and they have to take care of it, and they have to think better than the people who are out there committing the crimes. That's why we entrust them with that responsibility. It's not just given to them because, oh, you want to be an officer? It's not like being the hall monitor at an elementary. You don't get to just be a hall monitor. That's not the way it works. You have to show that you're going to be responsible with the responsibility. And if you're not, you get admonished worse than somebody from the public. Look at the cops that make mistakes. Look at that cop that made a mistake. When she thought her taser was a gun, she felt horrible about it, but she still had to go to jail for it, even though she made a mistake. But that's how we're supposed to hold cops to that level of scrutiny. But it doesn't mean that we get to pounce on them and talk shit and get all over them when they have to do a tough job. It's a tough job already as it is. We shouldn't have to make it worse for them.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, see, it seems to me that they like to paint this picture, because what happens is, like, when they compare the cops to the Nazis or compare themselves to Rosa Parks or, Martin Luther King or whatever, ultimately what they're talking about is called civil disobedience. Okay. So what that means is, I'll give a perfect example. Again, going back to movies, there was what the heck was the name of it? There's a famous line from it. The problem is that you and I have a failure to communicate. What the hell was that movie called though? Anyway, whatever it was, the whole thing started with an act of civil disobedience. The dude got drunk and saw Cool Hand Luke. Thank you very much, Blue Vaughn. Luke goes out there and sees the parking meters, and he thinks that it's wrong that the state is making people pay to park. So he's drunk. He sees a parking meter, so he hits it with a baseball bat. And ultimately, that's how it all started. That's what he got arrested for. That's an act of civil disobedience. Okay. But even that was illegal, and he should have gotten in trouble for it. But when you watch the movie, it all ends up, horrible. It all goes south real quick. But the point is, they're using like civil disobedience as an example of what they're doing and why they're doing it. But that's not really what they're engaged in. Even in the point of that movie, it wasn't about the civil disobedience. It was about the system of the prison system and the way that it works once you're in jail. And especially at the time, it was down south and they were extra mean to them and blah, blah, blah. There's the whole thing behind it. Maybe I shouldn't even have used that as an example. I just wanted to use the civil disobedience aspect of it because these guys try to paint a picture like that's what we're doing. When the cops ask us to move and we don't move, that's a form of civil disobedience. It's like, and this isn't just some random example. I've seen so many videos of this. Even this one we just talked about. Why did they all run to the park? Because there was these big wildfires burning everywhere. You're in a park with trees, and you're trying to get away from wildfires. Like, so in these other videos that I'm talking about, it's like when there's an active shooter, for example, and the cops are like, back up, get away. And they're going to engage in civil disobedience by not backing up. They're telling you to back up because they don't want you to take a bullet.
Right.
Like,
and it goes back to the example that I was giving you earlier, how, I don't want, cops to, hold back on their authority. If they need their powers of authority to get people out of situations, to get people out of danger, just like a firefighter would, it's fine. It's okay, because even though the public probably won't understand, you got to understand that they don't have all day to tell everybody, hey, look, there's wildfires and they might come over here. And you know what I mean? They're telling you for a reason. It's not personal. They're not doing it to you because they want to do it. They're doing it because they have a job to do. And it's almost every single time an issue that involves safety for you and the public. There is nothing about them that is in that order. They just have to carry it out. And that's the thing that people need to understand. When they're doing what they got to do, it's the same thing as you working at McDonald's making the hamburger. You're not making the hamburger for yourself to eat it. You're making it for somebody that came and ordered it. So the person that gets the hamburger is not going to be like, this hamburger is made with love or with anger. It's different. It's just a hamburger. It was made for you because you ordered it. And so the same thing with the cop. But that doesn't mean that it's Burger King either. The cops don't, their job isn't to have it your way, okay? They have a job to do. They have the way they have to do it, and they're going to do it the way they need to do it, the way they were trained to do it, the right way to do it, not the way you think it should be done because you want to, get your filming done or whatever. I can't make any other point to that because I
got you. I'm sorry. It's just while we're talking, I'm also looking at the chat, and there's all these arguments going back and forth about whether the fires were still burning while that video was filmed and all that. But here's the thing, Dave. He's saying that that park was open for people to camp out in, and then why were the cops kicking people out of there? If the government was saying, hey, come to this park and camp out, then why were they kicking them out of the park for camping out? Like, it doesn't matter whether or not the fire was still burning. You can't make the argument that it was perfectly legal and the police told them to go camp in the park if the video is of the police telling them to leave the park. And again, well, no, wait, because again, going back to the argument that, they're just following orders, and what if they're told to do something better? A lot of what ifs for stuff that these. Okay, hold on a second, because I'm about to go off on a rant here. All right, so listen, here's what happens. Okay, so you get these guys that are being told this, that, and the other, but guess what? The government, the city, whatever, had specific things that they did, that they put in place to help the people that were displaced by the fires. Okay. Now, if that didn't exist and the cops were told, go kick these people out of the park, and there's literally nowhere else for them to go, and nothing set up for them, then maybe you can make the argument that the cops just following orders would be too much. But there were alternatives set up for them, and there were alternatives in place. Now you could say, well, how come the cops didn't explain that to them? Did you see how many people were there? They're going to go up to every single person and say, okay, so if you walk down to 235th Street and fill out this form and do this, and they have this thing set up over there, they don't have time for that, because they'd be sitting there for 16 days trying to tell all those people all the details. Look, I've been in situations where there have been disasters, okay? I was in Chicago when the water main downtown broke and almost the entire city freaking flooded. It was insane. Our basement, I could literally go swimming in it, all right? Everybody knew where all of the stations were because you could see them. They were everywhere. Everyone was running around everywhere trying to help everybody. So it's not like the people who were in the park couldn't somehow figure out where all of the stuff that the city had set up for them was. All right. The cops were there to say, okay, you guys, we understand you can't go home because there's a fire, but you can't stay here. The city has a whole bunch of stuff set up for you guys. Go check out that, and they'll take care of you. So the argument that the cops are just following orders and they shouldn't because those are bad orders doesn't hold up. Again, if there was nothing else, if the city didn't have a plan, then maybe I could see a cop saying, "Ooh, I don't know if we should be kicking these people out of the park because where are they going to go?" But guess what? They did have somewhere else to go. It's not the cop's job to sit there and hold their hands and babysit them to get there. But it's not like they're just throwing them in the ocean and saying, drown, good luck. No. But they like to paint this picture like they're just...
And the other part too is that of course, like there's an emphasis on the journalist being arrested, but we don't know how many other people got arrested. The emphasis on this person's video
and it started with video. Just real quick though, because if you remember, and you can go back and watch the video again, it all started with them asking the journalists to move. They didn't ask them to stop filming. They didn't ask them to stop reporting on the story. They asked them to go report it from across the street.
Yeah, they said, you're standing here at the park, you're committing the crime of trespassing, so you got to leave the park. And she didn't say, yes, officer, I'm going to go. And then they said, grab her. No. She said no. She said no. And then he told her again. And what did she say? I'm a journalist and I'm recording the story. Wrong answer, honey. That's not what he was telling you. He told you to leave. He didn't care if you were a journalist, if you were Michelle Pfeiffer. If you're there and they don't need you to be there, you're going to be committed. You're going to commit the crime of trespassing. She trespassed. Yep. She got arrested. It's fair. It happened. Now, the other thing too. It seems like it would be like, oh, the cops are just telling them to go, and they're not telling them anything else. But we don't know what information these people got, or if they were somebody came before, like the night before, and was like, hey, we're gonna set up other shelters and we need everybody to go, and exactly. Who was in these shelters? Was it just people who lived in houses, or was it people that were taking advantage of the situation and coming to camp there because they knew that for the moment being they could do it? We don't know. We don't know all that information. That's too much information to gather. So you could spin the narrative and do all this and that, but the fact is that the cops were given a job. They carried it out, not happily. Who knows how they felt about it? The truth is that it was in the guise of safety. They took care of it, and that's all they had to do. They did it as quickly as they could, and nobody should blame the cops for that one. Now, if there was some sort of city coordination that wasn't put together correctly, or something that the firefighters were doing right or whatever, that needs to go into some other type of investigation. But that's why you get involved with your local government. your city council meetings and all that other stuff. The thing is that fraudsters always want to act like they're doing activism, but activism doesn't stop on the one little thing that happens. You have to follow up. You have to go to city council meetings. You got to see where you're going to change the law. They never go that far. They never do any of that work. All they do is get the little conflict, the little thing that's gonna get them the little clicks and views, and then bye bye, and then that whatever the hell the mission was or whatever, they just leave it. They never come back to it. It's just like Chile, but in a more underhanded way, right? Where he's
Yeah.
always saying, "I'm on mission. I'm on mission." What mission? What mission? You've never committed to anything. You've
The
never
mission to get
committed to a
paid.
yeah, exactly. That's the only mission there is because you've never stopped and created any kind of change, and you've never committed to see something all the way through. So it's all bullshit. Rant
Right.
over.
Um, what's interesting is that you mentioned something, and I want to make sure that this is understood. And maybe I'll actually, because you just said it, which brought it back into my head. It's something that I wanted to get deeper into. So maybe I'll bring it back up tomorrow when I have more specific, because I don't like to say things just because I know them to be true. I like to actually have some sort of factual basis behind it that I can point to and say, here's the truth. Um, but since you just mentioned it, it reminded me that I wanted to get into, and like I said, it's one of the things I planned on covering for tomorrow's show. You are either an activist or a journalist, not both. And so when these guys are engaged in activism, using "I'm a journalist" as an excuse, that doesn't work. You're either or. Can an activist be a journalist? Well, if you're engaged in activism, that's taking it beyond journalism. That's something different. Journalism, by definition, is neutral. Purposely going out of your way to do a story about bad cops, going under the assumption that they are bad cops, is activism. It's not neutral. You are doing it for a completely different reason. So anyway, that's a whole thing I wanted to get into, but I wanted to do a little bit more research into the specifics of how each works. But ultimately, the fact that they're always saying, well, I'm a journalist, while they're engaged in activism, you're either a journalist or an activist. They're not. No, you can't be both, basically. What's up, Nicody?
Yeah, and the other thing too is that if journalists ever had a problem with you know city city halls or courtrooms and stuff like that, I would think the journalists would know how to report that in order to get themselves the rights to do those things, like law crime TV that filmed the whole Brooks trial. I mean, they didn't get stopped from filming. They got to report the whole thing. I wonder why. I wonder why. But the thing is that frauditors, soft sits, and anybody who's trying to fight the government, they're trying to get their way. They're trying to get their way because they want to do what they want to do without repercussion. And I'm sorry, but just because you have rights doesn't mean that excludes you from consequences. You can have free speech, but you can still piss people off. You can have your right to film, but you can still piss people off. So you're not free from consequences. You either deal with them or stop doing it. Or you can stop breaking the law, asshole.
And it's so I'm actually gonna pretty much wrap it up here, but there are a couple last things I wanted to say before we go. But before I get into my final statement for the day, anything else you want to say?
Not much. I thank you, Hezekiah. I love what you do every morning. I wish that I could join you every morning. The guys are gonna love it because I'm gonna replay the stream for them. But dude, I just love what all you guys do. And whenever I get a chance to come up here, I really just want to express what everybody in the chat feels because when I'm in the chats, man, all these opinions and things that I brought up here are all the people down there. I am just one of them, and I want to express everything that they feel, and I want to express it in a clear and a concise way that these frauditors need to understand, and they also need to understand that they're not smart, they're not intelligent,
No, they're not.
they're not doing anything special. They're everything that they do is relegated to a script, and the minute
Yes.
they get out of it, they don't know nothing else. So that's all. That's all it is for me. I thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this time. I appreciate it.
Hey, no, not a problem at all. Thank you for coming up. All right. So, thank you for being here, and let's get me back on here. All right. So, the last couple things I wanted to say to wrap up the show today is I've been thinking about, and this came up a few times in the conversations we were having in the videos we've been watching, is the idea of these police doing this and doing that or whatever. It's fine. Everyone makes mistakes, even sometimes cops, right? But when you're trying to purposely go out of your way to find police corruption, right? Where are the frauditors, the legitimate auditors that are going after bad cops? Well, they're all bad. Well, obviously, that's not journalistic integrity. That's bullshit. So, where are the bad cops? Oh, they're not going to go after bad cops because a bad cop actually will be a tyrant and actually will beat the crap out of them and actually will put them in the freaking hospital, right? They don't want to go after those guys because then they might actually do something. No, they go after the regular flatfoot street cops that they know ain't going to do a darn thing because they can't, because they're soft targets. And then they can feel like a big man because I went after a guy with a gun, so I'm hardcore. No, you went after a guy that you know is not allowed to do anything. That's why you chose him as a target, because you know he's not going to do anything about it. And I said this the other day, and I'll continue to say it until I actually start to see it. All right. You want to talk to me about fighting for the First Amendment, and I'm not talking about the politics behind it. I don't care if you love the guy or hate him, but I love the example of when Ben Shapiro went to Illinois to speak at DeVry University, and he had an appointment, he had it set up, he was ready to go, and they wouldn't let him in. Now that is when you go and you fight for the First Amendment, his First Amendment right to speak in front of those kids in that college. Where were all the frauditors when that happened? No, they're going to go to the lady who's a secretary at City Hall that's just typing, minding her own business. They're going to go after her, right? But not the people who literally stop people from expressing their First Amendment right to speak. They're not going to go after people that actually are violating the First Amendment. They're going to go after the secretary sitting behind the desk in City Hall, typing and minding her own business. Oh, Peck. It's kind of a joke, but it's the Hezokuai crew. But it's a joke because when they came up with it, THC is the chemical, or it's short for the chemical in marijuana that makes you feel high. So somebody was joking, hey, we should make your thing THC because it's the Hezokuai crew. And then someone else was like, but that's THC. That's the stuff that gets you high in pot. And it became like, it's a gag. Anyway, that's that. So anyway, the point is the frauditors never actually go after any real civil rights violations. They create negative situations for clicks and views. They don't, and that's what I'm saying, like with the journalist, if there's a bad situation going on, they'll cover it. These guys cause a bad situation to cover and call that journalism. That's bullshitalism. Oh man. Anyway, that's that. Love you guys. Thank you once again for joining me. Always a pleasure. Always great starting our day together. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be a great weekend. I'm going to have a lot of fun. And thank you guys once again. And love you guys. Have a good day. And once again, my gnome's going to say, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm all shook up.